Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful day. It is February 4th, 2026, and we got an interesting day ahead of us. It's going to be kind of a waiting period ahead of Google earnings, but that is going to be the main event, especially with how tech stocks played yesterday. There is a lot of concern over software stocks. I was telling you guys about the credit. A lot of people are talking about the software stocks. They're kind of mingling together, but a lot of people are focusing on the AI, pretty much clapping the software. Now, there has been a lot of headlines and people kind of chilling out about it, but that's going to be one factor we got to see. You got gold and silver that is going up there. The earnings were kind of a mixed bag. Eli Lilly had a great earnings. There was a couple ones like Uber, Mondelez, Chipotle. They weren't the best, and then even AMD, they had a great earnings, but the bar was really high. So we're going to have a very interesting day. There's a critical minerals talk with the White House. We just heard they're proposing a trading block for critical minerals. We'll see how this all plays out, and like I'm saying, it's either gonna have a little bit of a hint of yesterday, and if not, that probably would be a good thing for most, and then we are gonna see what the earnings provide, my friends. So Chattadonia, I hope you're ready. I hope you're locked and loaded. But I hope you know how we do things here, man. Before we chase a dollar, before we try to win rich ourselves, we must pay homage to a very special group of people, and I am talking about the veterans of the United States of America. So on behalf of the cult, the people here, the people not here, I want to give a huge special shout out all the active servicemen, past servicemen, anybody who has served this country. God bless you, for real. Thank you, and I hope all of y'all who appreciate the veterans and everything of this country, man, don't ever take your freedom for granted. So, man, veterans, God bless every single one of you. God bless your families. Thank you for making the sacrifice, and I do hope, too, that you all actually get a long-term. Save that 10%. If anybody should be owning the land, I do think it should be you, so I really do hope all of this helps, but at the very least, God bless you. We love every single one of you, and big shout-out to everybody else out there giving back to their local communities, all the doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men, everybody making their communities run, baby. God bless you and thank you. But, ladies and gentlemen, please rise up. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Citizens! Oh, it's game time, Chad. Or not. Oh, happy Wednesday. Good morning. You better wake up. It's going to be a fun one. It might turn to earnings waiting period, but even then, it should be a fun one. Especially how yesterday played out. We got headlines yesterday. You got random news yesterday. You got software sell-off. Oh, I got pretty paid. Then, long term. Oh, we got to talk about the long term. You guys know that? For real. Do you guys realize if you have a good, strongly built long term, if you have been maximizing your dollar, if you have been being wise with your long term, you will not get affected by any of this. Do you know that? Well, people are already calling for a bounce in software, but essentially, again, what you saw yesterday, I have to show you guys. I was already going over. This doesn't happen too often. The days where staples go up over 1.5 while tech sells off over 2, that's only happened in pretty much 20 years ago, 26 years ago, in the 2000s. So keep that in mind, man. So if you have been building and if you took advantage of any of that value last year that was on the downside, I mean, you should be a little better. So we'll see how that all plays. AMD, dog, they're violating AMD. Absolute violation. So, man, let's have a good day, though. We got about a minute and a half. I'm going to go to the bathroom, but here is the critical minerals things. Again, you already got one headline from it. But we'll see how it plays out. In silver, good luck. God bless America.
To build a more resilient and diverse global market. Everyone here has a role to play, and that's why we're so grateful for you coming and being a part of this gathering that I hope will lead to not just more gatherings, but action. The United States stands ready alongside each of you as we enter this new age of shared prosperity and security. And I want to end by saying that while we intend to play a key role and an important role and to use the size and influence of our markets to drive this, this is an international, multilateral effort, and it only works. You can only have diversity and choice in these markets if it is broadly adopted across multiple countries. So this initiative here today may be one that started with us, but this is not solely an American initiative. This must be an international, global initiative with like-minded countries who all have one thing in common. We want to see a diverse supply of critical minerals and a secure and resilient supply chains across the world so all of our economies can prosper without ever having these things be susceptible, at worst case scenario, being used as leverage against us, or any other disruption that could come to the market that would undermine our collective economic security. So thank you all for being a part of this today. We appreciate it very much. Let me now turn, as we'll begin our program here. I think I'm gonna.
I forgot. Google, SMCI, Eli Lilly, Uber, AMD, ARM, Qualcomm, ELF, IREN, RTX, and XLP. Keep those on watch. 4, 3, 2, 1.
I am Yuel Hori.
Round
Foreign
1.
Affairs of Japan.
Fight.
It is my great honor to address you on behalf
Japan?
of the government of Japan regarding one
Let's
of the
go,
most
baby.
pressing and crucial issues we collectively.
All right, you're starting off. Russell up 0.33, Dow is up by 0.4, SPY 0.07, and then AMD kind of getting drawn down there from what's it called? Your boy, AMD, your girl Lisa Su.
In convening today's critical minerals ministerial meeting.
Yeah, dude, all the staples. Just watch out if that holds up. I mean, eventually
remarks
Staples
by
is gonna stop,
Vice
but
President Vance and the Secretary
very, very
Rubio.
strong, Habibi.
Japan shares a deep sense of concern and urgency about
Yeah,
the
Eli's
risk
still
of
holding the
disruptions
8%.
to
Eli
critical
option chain is not
mineral supply
open.
chains. Sitting at the very upstream end of supply chains and being used across a wide range of industries,
Damn, Dow's still down a
critical
quarter.
minerals and its stable supply is indispensable to the sustainable development of the global economy. That is precisely why
sand is down
Japan under Prime
Habibi.
Minister Takaichi's leadership has redoubled its efforts to diversify sources of supply for
A
critical
lot of
minerals.
staples to start off.
Recently,
Yeah, that's all I
Japan
see on the high ticker.
designated critical minerals as one of the
Yeah,
priority
Kimberly's
areas
even up 1. Damn,
under
even
the
TAP.
new initiative of promoting bold strategic investment.
So again, SPY already flipped
enhance
red. The
Japan's
Dow
resilience
is the leader.
and
So
achieve
that little
robust economic growth.
Staples leadership we're talking about is kind of
Amid
holding.
rising geopolitical risks,
But again, it's only been 2
Japan
minutes.
will accelerate efforts to secure upstream sources. At the same time, we will take flexible measures downstream, such as diversifying procurement sources in cooperation with like-minded partners who are here today. In fact, in recent years, we have already witnessed first-hand supply chain disruptions.
Abivi
Even in
had
recent
earnings. The
months,
earnings wasn't too bad, though.
This challenge has
I think they
become
missed
further
on revenue, and then the
deteriorating.
guide was
Against
in
such
line.
backdrop, we have come
And
to
then again, you had
understand
Uber
that
too.
we are
They were
in the same
decent,
boat
but their guide was pretty weak.
as any supply chain
And then
disruption
CMG had the
would
weak
bring
guide as well.
significant impact
So Walmart
on
going
the global
52-week
economy.
high again.
We should work together.
Yeah,
to
Staples
address
just,
this
dude,
challenge.
Staples just took off.
To
It's literally
prevent
1%.
such
It was
supply
up by
chain
like 0.5
disruptions,
earlier.
The key is to diversify
So see if
supply
software,
sources,
if that's going to keep
including
dying,
the
that's going to
refining
be
and
the
processing
theme.
of a
Yeah, IGV's already down 2%
concentrated
again.
critical minerals.
So again, it's going to either stop
To do so,
eventually or it's going to just
it
keep getting
requires
murked.
a collective action. We must seize this opportunity to advance cooperation among like-minded countries and partners like us. With that in mind, I'm looking forward to the launch of FORGE, the Forum on Resource Geostrategic Engagement.
And
In
Microsoft
the
up a
next
quarter
session,
again. That's going to be, I mean, some
Japan
Microsoft
strongly
software.
believes that
But that's going to
FORGE
be one of
will
your leaders there if
become
that
an
could hold
important
up.
venue and a vehicle for us to focus on supply chain diversification and ensure policy coordination. Japan stands ready to actively contribute to discussions to further deepen collaboration with partners and to ensure
NVO down
the
3,
effective
but it's actually down
implementation
20 from
of
yesterday.
This initiative. So, how we should move forward from here? On the supply side, diversification
SMCI up
is essential.
11.
Diversity, as opposed to concentration, is what makes us resilient. This has to be one of our major
The
guiding
premiums went up a
principles.
little bit, though.
In this context,
yeah, let's hold them for
I'd
now,
like
but if
to
that
take
could
a
run.
moment to briefly talk about Japan's efforts to date. Japan has been pursuing various projects in cooperation
Elijah
with the United
Lele.
States as well as with
Merck,
stakeholders across the
there is
globe
going to be a
in this
biotech
regard.
thing today too.
Diversification
White
of
House,
supply
but yeah, they're
sources
doing
and
great.
enhancement of supply chain resilience
XBI is
has
kind
been
of at
Japan's
break
top
even. Again,
priority
healthcare
for
had a
many
couple of
years.
updates today
And
too,
we have
but they're
taken
holding up.
policy measures
That's kind of part of it.
accordingly.
NVO's still going.
Back in
And then Apple.
2022, Japan enacted
So again, Staples
the
or
first
the
ever
software is still
Economic
down
Security
3%. It's a pretty
Promotion
shitty
Act
open.
and created
But then
new
again, if that
programs
bounces in
with a
15
focus
minutes,
on
that'll be it.
critical minerals. Just as importantly, Japan has been implementing
And AMD
public
down
private
12 now, so
support
that's a little bit
measures,
more than price stand. That's like
including
1.5 standard
expanding
deviations.
JOLTS investment framework,
Again, Nasdaq still down
increasing
0.3. SPY came
allowable
back up to
investment
green.
ratios, and allocating a total budget of 3.5 billion US dollars. Around this table, there are many partners with enormous potential for the production and refining
Staples,
of rare
1
elements
1/4.
as well
So
as
yeah, dude, at the
other
very
significant
least, even if
critical
people
mineral
aren't waiting
sources.
for software for
Angola,
clarity, they're at least
Argentina,
going straight to the
Australia,
Staples, dude.
Bolivia,
Kind of nuts.
Brazil,
Still early. I
Canada,
mean, it's been 5 minutes.
the Democratic
And then Watch
Republic
Solar too. They
of the
did good,
Congo,
and then Elon
France.
apparently visited
Well, the
some
list
solar
goes
places.
on and on. Japan is determined to seek robust partnership with you all. As geopolitical risks continue to rise, we will redouble our efforts to secure alternative supply sources and to build more resilient, reliable, and secure global supply chains. Diversity
Who is this? This is
only
Japan's
comes
guy?
from a collective action.
I'm assuming.
No single country can overcome fragility
Apple's
of
up
critical
too?
mineral supply and over-dependence on specific countries.
All right, well, Apple
on
there. You're
its
getting small bounce in
With the
software
launch
names.
of Forge, now it is
Well, yeah, I
time
mean, again,
for
if you are
action.
looking for software-related
demand
stocks in your
side,
long term,
It is
I mean, it's
imperative
either it gets
that
worse
we
from here,
avoid
or this
the
is going to be
situation
your
in which
once every couple of
critical
years
minerals and
discount.
their derivatives produced through
All right, SPY's still
non-market
going up. Again, you got
based
Apple
policies
leading up.
or
If
practices
Microsoft could bounce,
crowd
that'll be
out
good.
products with distorted price
Not every chip name is
competitiveness
down.
and
Yeah, and Nvidia's
unfairly
even starting to
monopolized
climb, but they're
global
down too. Starbucks,
Japan
HD.
will
Again, Staples
engage
chilled.
in
Staples hit 1.5
discussions
real
with
quick, but now
like-minded
they're back to
countries
1. So you're actually getting a little bit of volatility in Staples.
including the
Software
United
just bounced a
States,
little bit off the bottom. See if it
European
holds.
Union and others present here in a positive and constructive manner and will work to build an effective mechanism with industrial engagement. In this regard, Japan highly appreciates the US for its decisive leadership. Distinguished colleagues, as we gather today, we are clear-eyed about what our mission is and what our challenges are. Together, we can build on our advantages and make our critical mineral supply chains more resilient. Japan has unwavering determination to work with you as your trusted partner on every aspect: demand and supply, mining and refining, upstream and downstream.
Yeah, the SMCs just
Japan
took off
is
finally.
ready to enhance
But
coordination
still, it's 100%. I
and
thought
collaboration
I was
with
2
you all.
standards, but
Together, let's make a meaningful
they would've hit a little harder.
difference. In closing, I thank you for your kind attention. I very much look forward to the discussion today. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you, Minister Hori. It's a privilege to introduce David Copley, Special Assistant to the President and Senior Director for Global Supply Chains at the National Security Council. We're currently serving in the most historic administration in over a century, one that recognizes that a supply chain responsive to national security realities is a prerequisite to long-term economic growth. The decisions we make today about who we partner with are multi-decade decisions. We believe our partners will capture economic growth and value at all layers of the supply chain stack. The AI revolution we're living through is leading to record historic demand for everything, from copper to cobalt, nickel, zinc, aluminum, silicon, and virtually every element on the periodic table. We're also seeing surging demand for products downstream of the supply chain, including manufactured products like smartphone, chips, telecom infrastructure, industrial robots, machinery, and much more. My friends, the pie is rapidly expanding, and the United States accounts for 30% of global consumption. So we're taking steps to narrow the gap between what we produce and what we consume. But in order to merely keep a pace with global demand, in the US and abroad, we need to surge production capacity at home as well as in partner countries. David sits at the very center of this mission. His work is foundational to the strategic resilience of our country. He is tasked with the monumental challenge of de-risking our critical mineral dependencies, ensuring that the United States and our allies remain unassailable in the face of systemic competition. David brings a level of rigor and foresight that is essential for our department's mission and for the country at large. Please join me in welcoming David Copley.
Hello, David. Well, I would consider some software, but it just all depends on the composition. That's why, like, Adobe technically is software.
And for his leadership. Thank you, Secretary Rubio, for hosting, and thank you to President Trump.
Yeah, they're kind of coming back up again. They violated it off that morning candle.
The president understands the need to secure the foundational elements of the modern economy, and he has prioritized this issue as a matter of national security.
Tesla's going back up to green
and
now.
Prosperity.
Yeah, and SPY's even trying to advance, and we can get out of this range, bro.
About what we're doing in the United States to fix the critical minerals problem. We know this is an issue that will require a global
So you're just back up to where we gapped and opened that Monday.
Minerals on our critical minerals list, over a dozen aren't even mined in the United States. So this is truly a global challenge. In the United States, for a number of decades, we've neglected our mining sector. And frankly, been happy
CRM, that's adding to the software. Oracle's still down. They're all down a ton.
We've had some of the worst mine development timelines in the world in the United States. 29 years to build an average mine because our permitting framework and our litigation framework have been so onerous. Mining in the United States has been perceived as a dirty old world industry. So we haven't had enough young people choosing mining as a career. And we only graduate something like 200 to 250 mining engineers annually. Not good for a country of 340 million people facing a critical problem. But I'm proud to say that under President Trump's leadership, we in the United States have done a complete 180 and again made mining a priority industry for our national development. Because as all of you hopefully understand, minerals are the elemental building blocks of everything we need for our manufacturing sector as we reindustrialize our country. So what are we doing in the United States to fix the problem? Broadly, 4 key initiatives. We're investing in mining projects, we're stockpiling minerals, we're going to protect our mining companies, and we're rebuilding our mining ecosystem. To start, we're investing heavily in mining-specific projects, like recent deals with MP Materials, Lithium Americas, Korea Zinc, Ma'aden, and many, many others. I believe over the next few years, the United States government, between debt and equity, will deploy hundreds of billions of capital into the mining sector to get projects going. We are quite frankly doing things the American government has never done before, like equity investing, so we can get deals to pencil quickly and move forward. We've created public-private minerals investments, like our critical minerals consortium.
The peach, what about peach mining?
Another partnership.
They don't understand. Or no. Oh, let's go, baby. See, being better than software, better than mining. It's the peach.
Second, we've begun
every day.
Minerals. President Trump and Vice President Vance convinced Congress to give us $2 billion over the summer
wake your ass up.
to stockpile minerals
That's
in our
it. You
national
got the
defense
peach.
stockpile. That's the
Good
largest
morning.
investment we've made in our defense stockpile since the
Good
Cold War ended.
morning.
And just 2 days ago, the President announced Project Vault, the creation of a national strategic critical minerals reserve, a $12 billion vehicle under our Export-Import Bank. This is the first time in the history of the United States we've ever stockpiled minerals for our civilian economy, to protect our commercial industry and insulate them from the painful effects of supply shocks. Third, we're going to protect our mining companies. We know the mining industry has a problem with commodity pricing caused by strategic dumping and overproduction. Returns in the mining sector, quite frankly, have not been good enough over the last 30 years, at least partially due to this problem. This is a key part of what we want to talk about.
Apple's still, I think Apple's helping lead you right now. It sucks. You got a lot of individual, like the bigger software names, the Oracles, the CRMs. Those are just drilling, but at least you don't have Microsoft dying.
By reducing the value
Again,
of your
Microsoft
assets
was a big drag on all of that.
receipts. And it's equally damaging to consuming nations by harming your national and economic security. The current system doesn't make sense for any of us, but with coordinated global action, as described by the Vice President, we can fix this problem in a way that will be better for both producers and consumers of minerals. And lastly, we are fixing our mining ecosystem in the United States. I mentioned earlier in my remarks that S&P reported 29-year timelines to develop an average mine in the United States. This is completely unacceptable to President Trump and Vice President Vance, and will not continue under their watch. Our leadership have made mining a priority sector for our country again. We have a federal permitting priority list that has practically never been used for mining projects before. It's like concierge service for federal permitting. In just the last few months, we've added more than 50 projects to this list. We have torn apart and rewritten our federal regulations, and we can now get full environmental impact statements done, the most burdensome part of our permitting process, in less than a month. Our goal is that the United States again becomes a very attractive place for the mining sector, because we intend to mine here, and we intend to
today
process minerals here as
IGV
well.
you just took the gap instead of
four
like
key
melting
initiatives.
down, but it's
We're
still going
investing,
lower now. Watch
we're
out.
stockpiling, we're going to protect our mining companies, and we're fixing our mining ecosystem, because this industry is so important to our national development, as I know it is to your countries as well. But most importantly, under President Trump's leadership, we are no longer standing around admiring the problem. We're not spending our time writing 200-page book reports about how important critical minerals are. We have a plan, and we're focused on project execution, getting deals done, getting companies their permits.
S&P
stockpiling
Services
minerals, and
52.7
hopefully moving forward with
versus
all of you, our international
52.9.
partners, to protect our mining companies and to rebuild global mining in a fair and balanced way. So we very much appreciate your time and the distances you traveled to be with us here in Washington. We look forward to the discussion, and most importantly, we look forward to working with all of you to make the global mining industry great again. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Rubio, for your truly historic leadership on this critical issue. And thank you, State Minister Horry and Senior Director Copley, for kicking off our ministerial. I would like to ask press to depart the room before we begin plenary session 1.
What?
Thank you.
Why are they doing this like
Your
that?
Excellencies, distinguished guests, we will now pause for...
That's it? All right. Well, that was kind of disappointing. I mean, if you got the first headline, but it didn't really move anybody. That was the thing. Well, I guess we might be able to do that. All right, I'm looking at stuff. I'm looking at things related to software. Amazon plans to use AI to speed up process for making movies and TV shows. AI Studio aims to cut cost and streamline creative process. Humans will be involved in every step. I don't know who that would affect. Would that affect Adobe? Watch them? But again, software even took another low there. Ba-da-ba-ba-bop. I'm in a cult. Let's see. Palantir sold it all off. I'm looking at bonds, but I'm trying to see. Because, again, remember TLT yesterday? It actually caught a bid. But nothing's really moving much. I think you get your IGVs moving mainly because of the... it's moving because of the bigger names. But we'll get the composition here in a little bit. Because yesterday, I think the top, like, 15 names that were down were all software. So it's not as broad as it was yesterday, but we'll see. And Intel's actually doing good. Again, you had the stuff from yesterday was hitting the headlines this morning. They're pretty much saying the... what was it? They're saying Lipoutin's comments on making graphics cards for data centers. People got hyped on that. Good morning. Hold on. IGV, SPY's even going up there. UNH, a fat stick. Watch the staples too. I'm looking at all the little credit ones. See how those are going to perform, but credit's moving like a smaller degree, not like TLT. TLT doesn't relate to it, but like other credit is moving borderline hand in hand with the software names. But then again, the Amazon comments, you might be getting your little bottom there for now. We will see. Yeah, 300 names green on the SPY. I think it's remember yesterday too, most of the day. Today the only difference is you gap down in software. You got 23 green on the Dow, and then Nasdaq's 50-50. OLN, FedEx going up, and Merck too, bro. Merck's almost 3. Yeah, dude, staples are still at that range though. They were up a little bit higher, but after seeing this morning, that could move very quick. And then again, Apple and Microsoft are helping you out. Microsoft kind of chilled out though. And then CRM and Oracle, that's kind of what's dragging down software. Again, ServiceNow is still down as well. And then that's it. And then IGV still down 3.3. Again, this is a lot. Yesterday it dropped like 5 or something, but that like slowly sold off. Today you just had a gap down, even though people were a little bit more conservative today. I do think that was a little bit more surprising. Let me see. Excuse me. Which ones are those? XLP still going up, so watch what starts to lead you down if it's going to be tech or not. The services came in decent, but that one's not as the ISIM services doesn't have the same. It moves a lot more volatile than the manufacturing. You know, we freaked out on the manufacturing because that was a lot harder to get it off the ground. With Staples, another 52-week high, and then Walmart's doing it again. IGV going lower. So let me see credit. Hold on, I'm trying to do something, but it won't film me. Habibi, why they do this? Very big scam. Palantir going. You're kind of doing a little dump here. I don't know what I think it's. Is it Meta or Google? Remember, you still got Google earnings, and yeah, Google is starting to dump here a little bit. But other than that, TLT's already down by a quarter. Yeah, that was this morning. They had a call, but we don't know the details. So we might even end up hearing that a little later. But we will see. We will see, Habibi. How low can Bitcoin go? Oh, I don't know. It's going to probably chill, though, around those election levels. So isn't that between like 70 and 60, 65 or something? But if it works, if that thing could start reacting to stuff, that'll be one thing. Otherwise, we're pretty much waiting to see if that's going to, if it's going to act as a dollar debasement trade or if the ISM economy run it hot. But if anything, I would say be patient. I think that might be the better answer for it. And then damn staples. Because like I'm saying, I mean, this is, what I showed this morning. We could go over the chart again, but even if there's software selling off, AI, like all of this stuff is benefiting staples. So unfortunately, it's like, for our long term and a good play opportunity, I think staples, that run has been very nice. And it's not like, Bitcoin going up or down isn't, as long as you insulated yourself properly, it shouldn't really affect your long term. And I'm sure by the time that it gets to a really good price, you're probably going to be able to be a lot more protected with the rest of your portfolio. And then it just becomes an easy growth bet. But for now, I mean, I wouldn't try to, catch it. Uber flip. Ooh. Yeah, they started off a little weak and then came up. And then Chipotle came back up too, surprisingly. That was down like 6 or 7. Again, NVO, it says 5%, but it's really down like 20. The play is probably going to be related to either software. It's actually the best part about it is that it's both ways. So if you think that software is going to bounce with all this little AI fear, yeah, this is the best dip in like 3 years. Otherwise, if software is going to lead to like a credit crisis or it's going to crack in any other way, software to the downside or even certain credit to the downside, that might be a very interesting play. So yeah, that's your play. If you're looking for it, you gotta take the risk or not. I mean, dude, software just dropped another 2% from the morning. Oh, that went down. And then Google, like I'm saying, if you get some pressure from the tech stuff, that one's interesting. Boom. Novo. I mean, it was yesterday, that earnings, dude. It was just really bad, and then it got the double whammy with Eli Lilly being really good. Yeah, Chipotle's earnings wasn't bad. The guidance was just kind of meh. And Staples, dude. So yeah, this is what I'm saying. Fiserv, I don't know if they're software. I think it's a mix of software, but I think PayPal clapped them the most. But this is what I'm saying, bro. So now, if you thought I was annoying talking about the year-to-date laggers last year and everything, I mean, this chart just shows it, though, man. So if you are, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're like, oh, my gosh, software credit crisis, oh, my gosh, it doesn't even matter. Because, like I'm saying, if you have, this hasn't happened in like 20 years, but you're getting XLP up over 1.5 while tech is going down over 2. So if you did get those laggers and you have positioned accordingly, I mean, you don't have to worry about any of this. That's the crazy part. IGV, dude, tech is still going down. It's like tech, NASDAQ's down 0.6. Again, AMD, then NVIDIA, Microsoft, but then also, like, just watch IGV. That one's just picked up another 2% down. Again, it was down like 2, 3 in the morning. Now it's down 4.5. Bud and Tap, are they going? Yeah, that's part of it. Damn, 51. When was the last time we saw 51 on fucking Tap? Yeah, that's a new high, at least. I don't think 52-week high, but you're almost getting back to the 52-week, 1-year average, which would be another 10%. I know that Pepsi, I know a lot of people got it, but it would have been nice. My girl got it, but I didn't get it. Sad. But you're going to have more opportunities. It's just changing now, though. Like I'm saying, you know, I think you might have last call on, I mean, again, even Kimberly, we're up a little bit, but some of these names are going to do their thing. And then now we start to shift towards the other opportunity. So, like, if you didn't want any of the staples, I mean, realistically now, your best deal is showing up in software. The only risk with software right now is, like, again, it's not all software is going to die, but pretty much the big fear is you don't want to own the next Chegg. That's how somebody put it. So do you guys remember Chegg? Do you guys remember? Some of the students know. But do you guys remember Chegg? So this is your risk. This is what people are terrified about. So Chegg, you guys remember this thing was at fucking $100. Y'all thought Snapchat was bad. I'm telling you, this thing got eliminated. Dude, Chegg was killing it. And then remember, this was when, like, AI started coming out. And I remember talking about it. We were like, oh, it's the end of Chegg. But it, like, really... Oh, wait, ISM. I was looking at the PMI. Services 53.8 versus 53.5. So still kind of in line. See what bonds end up doing here. But, yeah, that's software. That was AI related. This got killed. This got killed by AI. So that's just the reality of it. Notebook LM, Chat GPT, the students... all of it, they got murdered. So that's the big fear right now. You could go buy the dip on software. Not all of them are going to die. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to have everybody get wiped out. But the reality is that there's probably going to be 1 or 2 Cheggs in the mix of it. And that's the worry. So as long as you go with high quality, I think you'll be fine. But if you're trying to buy the dip, scraping the bottom, that's why I keep telling you guys, I would be careful of the bargain bin. Go for a brand name on sale. That's going to be your best bet. But that's the fear with software. Because, again, this is the second round of AI software killing, if you really think about it. The first round killed the weakest. But now, you know, after yesterday, the plugins and all these other things, and the fact that every week, every 2 weeks, we're getting a new update. Think about it. 2 weeks ago was Claudebot. Yesterday was the Anthropic. What are you going to get in 2 more weeks from now? And that right there is kind of setting up everything else. Yeah, Duolingo maybe. I'm sure that was already dying. But yeah, that's the worry. You don't want to buy the next Chegg. So as long as you get rid of avoid the next Chegg, your software it'll be the best pickup in software you'll make in the next few years. But again, you have to avoid. It's fucking Minesweeper. It's literally Minesweeper with software stocks. That's the reality of it. Sadly, as long as you avoid the mine, you're fine. But if you do get clapped on that, then it'll be kind of nightmarish. I don't know if Adobe will die, but then again, I mean, after, you know, I had a Claudebot help me with some video editing stuff, and I ended up using Adobe, but I was able to do a lot of it. But I do think Adobe's a much more solid company. It has good brand recognition. It has a community of creators. It has things that give it a better moat, but if you don't have any sort of moat, you're probably going to be a little bit more at risk. Kremlin was informed in advance about conversation between Xi and Trump. Oracle looks good, but sadly it needs to go down more. I like the Oracle company. You know, I don't like their credit. I don't like the bonds. It just sucks that it did this like extra $100 move. Because if it didn't, then it would be at a very good price. But you're not even, out of any of the software names, you're not even getting software in like 2022 prices. So that's the key right now. Software stocks are the cheapest they've been since Liberation Day. And then pretty much last time you saw a dip like this was like 2022 essentially. Or like 2020 to 2021, you had a rise and pop. So that's kind of the issue with it. But Oracle's a great name, but it's also, it's still a little bit up there. Yeah, remember, Oracle got some of that crazy AI run. And out of anybody, too, they have the highest credit default swap, which is ironic considering how good of a company they are. Can you short the next Chegg? You could, yeah, why not? So like I'm telling you, asked me for a play. I just told it to you. But now you got to decide what you want to do. It's either you believe that software AI is going to get killed and you play the downside on software, you fucking snipe individual names, or it goes in reverse. And if you think, no, this is overblown, only 1 or 2 of them will die, you fucking play this bounce and you'll be able to ride up the dip again, you just got 15% in like 2-3 days. So you got a bunch of upside, but then if it cracks here, you break a longer term trend and then it starts to get a little bit uglier. So this is your play. This is what drove everything yesterday. I think it's the private credit though. So that's the thing. Everyone's talking. I don't know if you guys remember me yesterday. I was telling you private credit, mix it in with the NVIDIA OpenAI stuff. But at the same time, now everyone's talking about the software stocks. But remember, what's making them vulnerable is these companies have credit. And that's, I think, what's creating this interesting dynamic. So yeah, we'll see. We will see, Habibi. Where is Intel? NVIDIA, March 6th. You could get a Kimberly run up. That's why I said we have time for it. I wanted to see how things played out, but you're just getting fear right now. I don't know. And again, I mean, this is kind of what we positioned for. We could get more, but I want to see how it develops. So there's still a long time, man. We still got a lot of days and things can change quickly, but we're already positioned for it. But yeah, this fear is what's sparking the staples. So again, TAP, Kimberly, PG, J&J, Walmart, they're all going insane right now. But it's not because, again, you could have been buying these from end of last year. Adobe's kind of running up right now. But I do think it's kind of it's this more fear with tech and everything else going on. Yeah, Adobe just started to wake up. I mean, remember, Adobe was already dying. That just death blow. But there's other names. Go look at ServiceNow. Go look at CRM. They also look very, very ugly too. Oh, yeah, we do have Besant. I wonder if Nicki Minaj is going. I tell you, bro, he loved Nicki. He loved it. Oh, Josh, I'm a barb, Josh. I'm a barb. Kimberly. So yeah, but that's why I'm saying though too, you got to be careful not to chase the staples too hard, because this is the problem. If you didn't do it early, you don't want to buy, because eventually the staples are gonna fucking die. So if the market bounces, you're gonna just overpay for the staples. But that's what I'm saying. If you really were in advance, paying attention, being wise, not because again, staples were the cheap things, and now it's like, think about it. I mean, let me put it this way: AI could kill software. Not all of it, but it could kill it. But are you ready for this? AI is not going to fucking replace a Kleenex. So that's kind of the best part about it. You know what I'm saying? AI is not making beer. So it's just like, these are the good parts about it. But now you don't want to buy it on a fucking 15-20% premium. That's the shit. Because then you're, like you say, you make your money off the buy. But now if you chase that and then it starts to do this and then software bounces or AI stocks start to do good again, you don't want to be down 10% on a slow mover. So there's only a couple left, but that's what I'm saying. Before you know it, we'll be relegated to only looking at the growth names that are down. That will be our opportunity. Yeah, bro, diapers and Kleenex. I mean, yeah, you're not gonna you can't do a plugin for that. But that's why even Walmart's doing so good. You see what I'm saying? Like, even if they make AI tools for products and pricing, you're still gonna have like shit at damn like Walmart and cheap items. Like, you can't replace some of these things. So it's just gonna play a little differently. But that's why too, though. Not everyone's gonna die. And then right now, this is just the second day of freak out. But it's before you know it, most of them are probably gonna chill out, and then we see how it plays out throughout the month. tell me why. Yeah, they're chilling out. So look, a lot of software just bounced right now. Yeah, look, that's Adobe software. Dude, Adobe just ripped negative to positive. All of them, all the software names are just fucking launching right now. Yeah, Path came straight down. That's software. Let me see the other ones. Path has no debt. It doesn't, but unfortunately, dude, I liked Path. You guys, I told you I used Path. I don't use it anymore. Dude, these little fucking browser extensions that was the only reason I used Path. Because it was able to, like, kind of use your mouse and you could automate things, but unfortunately, the fucking Claude bot could replace that. As fucked up as that sounds. So I'm not as excited for Path anymore, to be honest. Like I said, at $9 I would have looked at it, but now after all of this, I mean, I haven't used them in a long time. I never wanna hear you say, I saw my long turn today. Yeah, Uber bad earnings. It wasn't even bad. They did good on certain aspects, but then again, guide was pretty low. CMG bounce. All right, dude, software bounce. That's it. You had the gap down. It got like 2% worse, and now you're right back to where it's open, but a lot of them are getting steam off the bottom. Again, even the bond side of it is even chilling out. They would collaborate. Well, they, in some instances, yes, if it's good. But like for a lot of these, it's just that you guys got to realize, like, eventually it's just going to get easier and easier for people to save money. So remember, like we were talking about, AI is deflationary. that's just the sad. If this doesn't highlight it, I don't know what does. But essentially, you're gonna have a lot of people that, if you ever wanted to do something software related, I mean, you could pay one of these software companies, but it might become so accessible that you might be able to just create your own or use your browser to, get a plugin, or otherwise your AI subscription could handle it all, and then you go from there. So that's kind of even though a lot of companies could come together and you could think about company preservation, this is going direct to consumer. So now a lot of consumers, and again, depending on every update, how much easier it gets and everything, eventually people are going to be able to get a lot cheaper stuff. So it's like, yeah, companies could combine and do all this, but if the consumer can do what you're offering for $1, for what you're offering for $20 a month, they're not going to pay you. And again, that's why certain companies and software that have a brand ecosystem support and certain things that people need, they're going to be fine, and they're going to probably have their partnerships. But that's why I'm saying, like, Chegg is the best example. You know what I'm saying? You do your schoolwork, online tutoring, or whatever the fuck. What did Chegg even offer you? You know what I'm saying? It was like school stuff. But then once people started using ChatGPT for school, there's no need to pay $50 a month for Chegg, $20 a month for Chegg. They're like, why? I mean, again, I pay $20 or I get free ChatGPT. That kind of set everything up for them. So, yeah. the medical discovery, yeah, they could do good. I mean, I think, I would hate to toot my own horn, but if you have been paying, if you guys thought Intel was just a good purchase last year, I think buying all those value staple names, highlighting the year-to-date laggers, and getting those good names, I think that was your fucking AI win on the back end. And we still have more to do, so I look forward to the rest of this. But that's what I'm saying. Some of you who grab UPS, Pepsi, J&J, TAP, Kimberly, you name it, bro. You're probably going to be set up for any of this shit. And some of you already got 10, 15, 20% of cushion now before any of this has even fucking started. So, yeah, I don't think you got to overthink it. You guys just, like I'm saying, there were certain names, although everybody was focusing on the picks and shovels and the chips and all that. I'm surprised we even got a chip maker for cheap, but thank God that we did. But it's just like, these were solid ass companies, and I've been yelling it for over a year. That's why it's like, push comes to shove, people start freaking out 1-2 developments later. That was the way to do it. And that's what I'm saying. Doing it now, those plays might still be viable, but I don't feel the same way about it. I feel good that I got them early, and you should too if you have them, because again, like we've talked about, if the market sells off and goes risk off, they're not selling Procter and Gamble. They're not selling any of these Johnson & Johnsons, even fucking TAP with how weak as it was. They're buying it. Again, MO, any of the staple stuff, bro. I was begging people for this. I was saying, this is how you're going to do it. 6-month lag time, 3-month lag time, even from Christmas, dude, 2 months. That's it. Just be a little patient. You got hooked up. No matter what, that's the better part, is that peace of mind. I don't look at my portfolio and I'm not fucking tweaking. I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? You were not buying any crazy fucking software at a high price. You weren't going over, certain things. It's just like, you got good value. You got paid more than the bonds to hold it. You're going to get paid more than the bonds to hold it for the next decade. And now it's just like, yeah, no matter what, if there's a crack, it sucks you can't buy more. But now what's going to happen, let those names grow, you're going to be able to scoop up any of the cheaper value or the cheaper tech now at this point. Now you could at least make money, and you're going to be able to have good portfolio defense. Wow, shit hits the fan, or not really shit hits the fan, but everything is, you're going to get a shift in the economy, essentially, a shift in winners and losers, and then we're going to be able to scoop up the better losers, essentially. And then, yeah, we rotate back, and then we're going to do the same exact thing in reverse, motherfucker. I hope you're ready for it. So now we have the same patience. Give it 3 to 6 months. We're going to line up, and there's going to be some good names you wanted 3 times the price higher. You're going to be able to scoop them all up. And that's it. That's why. So have your deposit, have your balance, let your portfolio speak to you, follow the rules. Like I said, you follow the rules, they will follow you. You break the rules, they will break you. And that's why this is a very, very good one. So I hope you used it. I hope homeboy bought. Remember end of the year on the locked in, he said I had 80% cash. I think I got him down to 40% before we left for Christmas break. So I hope he did do that, because that would have been a great move. But like, I'm telling you, all those year-to-date laggers, the names I begged about, I just said, do it, bro. Those ended up paying pretty nice. And now I'm saying too, no matter what happens, you got the cushion. Somebody said Destiny is expensive. It only demands your former identity. Are you willing to transact or not? Let's go, baby. We got a long way to go. That's why, too, I hope you're excited, though. I hope you are not discouraged, because whatever you think you missed, like I keep telling you, the revolving door of opportunity. That's it. You may have missed one harvest, but tell me about the second one. It's going to come back around. We're going to have a different set, and we're going to line it up, and then call it a day. You missed it, but my take on mushrooms and mind med, like I'm saying, this mushrooms ain't gonna save you, G. So no, I'm not an investor in alternative medicine. Not now. I would buy it like a bigger healthcare company, and that is where this value is lining up to. Yeah, Eli Lilly obesity pill. I just put it up there in 2027. But yeah, I would be looking for bigger healthcare, like in biotechs that are really well established. But like I'm saying, just like a couple months ago, you know, things were high and speculative. If you want to speculate and put your money towards, you know, the riskier stuff, you're free to do it. But right now, my main focus is taking advantage of the opportunities that we don't get too often. If I see high quality value at one of the lowest prices ever while everybody's circle jerking AI and risk, I'm going to take the value. And then again, once we have other stuff, we could work it around. And probably, you know, if the time to get alternatives and high risk and all of that is going to be when it's pennies on the dollar. So for now, I'm focusing on high value, low price.
That impose disproportionate regulatory burdens on our financial system.
Barbs.
This committee, along with FSOC, can successfully support our community lenders and allow them to thrive under right-sized regulation with this legislation in place. Regulatory tailoring helps to protect the diversity of our financial system, which is itself key to promoting financial stability. I look forward to working with the Treasury Department as you implement my outbound investment legislation that the President signed into law in December. With you at the reins, FSOC has returned to its core values and away from the weaponization and disarray we experienced under the Biden administration. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.
Software is
I recognize
trying
the
to
ranking
advance
member
again.
of our Subcommittee of Financial Institutions, Dr. Bill Foster of Illinois, for a 1-minute opening statement.
Thank you, Chair Hill. Mark Twain is credited with observing that history does not repeat but often rhymes. And those
All right,
of
I'm
us
gonna go
who
to the
served
bathroom.
on this committee during the financial
Been just
crisis
about an hour.
recognize this poem and its tragic ending. We have once again a historically
Follow me on
unpopular
Instagram
president
at the Trading
fixated
Fraternity.
on the glory of his overseas
Get a law
misadventures
term.
and foreign bailouts. We have once again a multi-trillion-dollar asset bubble underpinned by opaque and conflicted financial mechanisms that nobody understands by design, being willfully ignored by partisan financial deregulators. And we have families all over America who, despite all the happy talk from the president, are having a hard time paying their mortgages and their monthly bills. You can hardly open any financial news source without seeing a discussion of the pending collapse of the AI circular investment bubble. And that is why we created the FSOC. And that is why last November, Democrats on this committee sent you a letter as chair of FSOC to figure out what we'll have to do when the music stops. Your response was insufficient, dismissive, and dangerous to our economy. I look forward to hearing more from our questions and yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Today we welcome the testimony of the Honorable Scott Bessent, Secretary of the Department of Treasury and Chair of the Financial Stability Oversight Council. Secretary Bessent, we thank you for taking time to join us today. We'll be recognized for 5 minutes to give an oral presentation of your written testimony, and without objection, your written statement will be made part of the record. Mr. Secretary, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Chairman Hill, Ranking Member Waters, and members of the committee, thank you for inviting me to discuss the Financial Stability Oversight Council's 2025 annual report. This report is a culmination of extensive collaboration amongst FSOC members. I'd like to thank them for their hard work and dedication in advancing the President's bold vision for a better America. Since day one, President Trump has focused on building parallel prosperity, an era of economic expansion where Wall Street and Main Street can grow together. To that end, Treasury has tirelessly pursued pro-growth policies to unlock the potential available to all Americans when they are free to save, invest, build businesses, and drive their own economic destinies. The Financial Stability Oversight Council plays an important role in delivering on this agenda. Too often in the past, we have seen regulation by reflex. Rather than preempting crises, regulators have frequently reacted to them after the fact. They played the role of a hazmat cleanup team instead of preventing dangerous spillovers in the first place. Regulation by reflex has led to a regulatory myopia that has undermined safety and soundness. Under President Biden, the bank regulators preoccupied themselves with reputation risk, climate-related financial risk, and other risks with no clear nexus to safety and soundness. At the same time, they centered supervision on management and other governance matters that distracted examiners and banks' risk managers from the real risk to safety and soundness. The result, predictably, was the second, third, and fourth largest bank failures in U.S. history in 2023. Besides undermining safety and soundness, regulation.
All right,
by reflex
IGV
has
took
driven
off
excessive
now. You're
regulation.
bouncing a little bit in
That
software.
can lead to economic stagnation, and economic stagnation is itself a grave threat.
Software is
to financial
underperforming by
stability.
the largest
In
margin of the
calibrating
century.
regulations, federal agencies must avoid the temptation
I don't know, is
to
it?
create a zero-risk
I know it's the
financial
biggest
system
in at least like
which
5 or
result
10
in
years.
what others have called
And
the
then it's
stability
going
of
back to the
graveyard.
trend line of like 2022 or
aim to
2020,
identify
and then
vulnerabilities
as
that could lead
bigger
to
dip or
systemic
the same
crises
level
and
as we
encourage the
at
private
index
sector
level
to mitigate
as
those risks,
Liberation Day.
recommending
That's what I'm saying.
additional
That's your
regulation.
play is either side.
FSOC should also
If
work
you
with
think
its
it's
members
overblown
support
and there's
efforts
no
to avoid or
mines, you
pare
fucking
back
buy the
existing
fuck out of it.
regulation,
Otherwise, if
stifles
somebody cracks,
pro-growth
then
lending,
that's going to
capital
probably
formation,
freak
and
people out, or
innovation.
we're just going to
And
find the
best
next
way to
check.
achieve these goals is by centering economic growth and economic security at the heart of FSOC's agenda. Promoting economic growth and economic security.
I wonder if he's going to
is
bring up
essential to
deflation. I mean,
ensuring
again,
financial
you just
stability.
heard the first guy talk
Economic
about the
growth
AI
strengthens
circular
household,
bubble. That's so
business,
old
and
now.
financial
I mean, think about it.
balance sheets,
It's
creating
deflation.
capital
We were just
buffers
talking
that reduce the
Claudebot.
risk
All
of
this shit
default
comes out
and
every
financial
other
stress.
week. I mean, that's
And
why I'm
economic
shocked so
security
many people
reinforces domestic
have not
production
brought up,
capacity,
even if
raising
it's not
living
real
standards while
economic
reducing
deflation or a
vulnerability to external
deflationary
shocks
spiral,
and
just the
supply
fact
chain
of the
disruptions.
deflationary effect of
FSOC's
AI.
annual report
Which again, I mean,
prioritizes
ultimately it
economic
does
growth
benefit
and
the
economic
consumer until
security
consumers
accordingly,
lose jobs.
with
If you work in
specific focus
software,
on four
then
policy
maybe that's a
areas:
different story.
Treasury markets, cybersecurity, regulatory modernization, and AI. First, the Council is ensuring
Yeah,
that the
Microsoft's
US
leading.
Treasury market remains the deepest and most liquid in the world. The Council is supporting efforts by member agencies to strengthen this market against future shocks, including through the Interagency Working Group on Treasury Market Surveillance and the Market Resilience Working Group. Ongoing monitoring and targeted reforms by individual agencies remain essential to financial stability. Second, the Council is taking action to protect our financial system from increasingly sophisticated cyber attacks. Nation-state actors and criminal groups continue to
Financials
target
even
our
bouncing too.
financial
Spy's getting right back up to open.
and infrastructure. To address this risk, the
It
Council
does. It goes right back to that big, beautiful bet. Because there is inflationary factors, but if all this AI stuff works and then we get other things, you build up the real manufacturing again. You can't go back to the Kleenex discussion.
Third,
You know, you build this stuff that can't be replaced as easily. If anything, you're just gonna lead to people saving money.
And credit unions.
But it has to work. Believe me, I'm not a believer that it's guaranteed to happen. It may take longer than expected. So that's kind of the dilemma.
Particularly for small and community banks.
Yeah, Palantir is part of the software. They did good off earnings, but then they even got hit. Again, they're down to 8 now. But yeah, that's the high of the day for IGV. It's only down 1.3 now.
Public and private partners, including international counterparts, to enhance system resilience while closely monitoring emerging risks. I will close by highlighting our progress in enhancing the utility of our annual report. In this year's report, FSOC shifted away from its past approach, where nearly every major market and financial sector was described as a financial stability vulnerability. By introducing a new structure centered on fostering economic growth and security, we're tuning out the noise to concentrate on the issues that matter most for U.S. financial stability. With this overview, I look forward to taking your questions.
We'll now thank the Secretary, and we will turn to member questions, and I recognize myself for 5 minutes for questions. You made a persuasive case that since President Trump was sworn in, that economic growth is a cornerstone of his presidency, and you highlighted today, as you have in speeches over the year, the importance of that Wall Street's doing well, but it's Main Street's turn, and you'd like to see economic growth expanded into what I always quote from Steve Case, the rise of the rest, where we see that economic
on NVO?
performance
No,
expand
not really.
across
Just
the
wait.
country.
If it goes down back
This year,
below
that
the
commitment
40s,
here on
maybe,
this
but
committee
at this
about
point, I'm going to be
reversing
waiting
elements of the
probably for
regulatory
bigger,
framework that
deeper
has sought,
discounts.
Possibly,
Patience,
certainly
baby girl,
well-intentioned,
patience.
The concept of too big to fail, but ended up in creating an environment over the past 15 years where community banks are too small to succeed, or maybe avoiding your term today you chose to use, the stability of the graveyard. The committee has worked together on a bipartisan basis to highlight some of the principal actions.
Do you
that we
guys want
considered
some
over
tin?
The past year, our Main Street Capital Access
I just
Act,
referred. Grok can't
which
even.
we
Grok doesn't even
intend to
understand my tin.
Bring to the House floor. We're grateful for your Undersecretary, Mr. McKernan, who last month joined us as we rolled out that package to talk about how we can collaborate Would you take a minute and from your perspective, how do strong, well-capitalized community banks and the benefits of tailoring that are in this legislative proposal help
Twitter
accomplish
likes it,
faster
you
economic
know?
growth and the rise
Twitter
of the
keeps
rest?
showing this to people. It's very algo friendly.
Chairman Hill, as
Are you
I
ready?
said, it's Main Street's turn. And
I never
essential
thought
for
about
Main
this.
Street's having its turn are the small and community banks.
Are you ready for this?
And
It's
I
kind of
would note
intense.
that thanks to onerous regulation, and as you and I both say,
So there's an email
community and small banks became
of
too
Jeffrey
small
saying
succeed.
to give permission to kill somebody.
More than 50%
My
of our
tinfoil.
community banks have disappeared.
Maybe
since the
Jeffrey
great
killed
financial crisis.
Satoshi.
Not during, since. There have been virtually
That's why the
no
wallet will
no
never
banks
move.
Created, whereas
Think
before
about
the
it. That's when then
GFC,
again he
more
funded
than
a lot of
50
it apparently.
years.
Like
Small
we
and
talked
community
about him
banks
maybe being
not only are
Satoshi,
the anchor
but what if he just killed
community-based
Satoshi?
lending, but
And then the
they
whole time he
provide
knew that wallet would never
bulk of
move.
the lending for
Yeah.
agriculture, for small real
That's the
estate
tin, bro.
loans,
This
and
is a real
small
email.
business
This is from the files. Energy number just
thriving
came out.
Community bank infrastructure and ecosystem is essential. I've met with more individually
Fun fact.
and in round
Tin.
tables with more than 200 community
Cushing
bankers,
oil inventories
consultants,
minus
and
743
conferences with
versus
more than
278
1,000.
previous.
And tailoring is
3.4 million
essential.
inventories
I had one
minus.
banker from my
Estimate
home
was
state
draw
in
of
South
639.
Carolina with assets of about $200 million tell me that under the previous regulatory regime, she was told that she should be more like Bank America, the second largest bank in the country. And so it is essential that we have the right
Eli, Envy, and
tailoring,
biotechs and
right
medical
risk
kind of
levels,
coming up.
and right
Adobe fucking
monitoring
ripped, dude.
of these important
That was a
decisions.
5% move. Even software. I
Well,
mean,
thank
as
you
we were
for your
talking about it, you
perspective
asked for the play,
on that,
brother.
and-
It
and
moved.
to
It fucking
illustrate
moved.
it in our work we've done on housing in the committee, also on a bipartisan basis.
Well, yeah,
it was
software
noted
just
that
woke the
banks
fuck up.
under $10 billion in size, really the heart of our community banking system, several thousand banks across the country. They make 60%
See if this is, if we start going down,
of
if it's
our
either going to be
1 to 4
big
family
tech, not
construction
software,
loans.
or watch if
And
the
while
staples
banks of all
rotate. But you
sizes
got
deliver
insurance on the high,
amazing capital
Striker,
access in
PGR.
our economy, at the heart of our main streets.
Striker software,
if
I'm
we
pretty
want
sure.
More housing supply, we
Man,
find that it's really
insurance.
that local.
But then the low
grassroots,
ticker is pretty
public or
active. You got
privately
a
held
nice little
community
mix of
bank that
things.
helps lead that. You mentioned
Energy.
de novos, and under Chairman Barr's leadership in our subcommittee.
That's good tin, bro.
and,
I've never heard
again,
anyone
with
say it.
bipartisan support, we've enhanced in the Main Street Capital.
Nah, they
Access
were
Act
saying. Remember, I
ways
brought it up
we
a couple
think that
months
will
ago on the
speed
first
up
file.
and make easier
They were saying,
to get
oh,
both
Striker's
deposit
medical?
insurance,
Oh, yeah.
raise
I think
capital,
you're right.
and tell the story about
But people were
having
saying the
more
link
dynamic
between
de novo
Epstein and
bank
Bitcoin. But I'm
formations
like, what if he
that,
just
as you
killed
say, have
homie?
been so slowed
And then
by
he knew from the
last
get-go
15
that
years.
wallet ain't moving.
Turning to digital assets, something that we've talked about quite a bit in the time remaining. Can you tell me your assessment of how the regulatory process is coming for the implementation of the
Google.
Genius Act?
So you are getting some big tech dropping.
The Genius Act was an important
Man, Microsoft, the software names got a little
important
bounce.
piece
They're
of
still a little
legislation
struggly,
for
but
bringing back
now you got a
on-
different set moving down.
into the U.S.
But yeah, you had a little burst of the low ticker. It just brought you back to VWAP.
And making the United States a national champion. The Genius Act
LRN.
and the stable coins that will be created with that could in fact be an important feature of financing the U.S. government. And we are moving with deliberate speed to round out the House and the Senate's intention on that important,
Thank you very much, Mr.
important
Secretary.
piece of legislation.
Appreciate your work and leadership there. I now recognize the ranking member of our committee, Mrs. Waters of California, for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you very much, Secretary.
Oh,
Wilson.
Maxine.
In the FSOP annual report, you stressed the importance of economic growth to promote financial stability. While you noted many ways you plan to deregulate Wall Street and plant the seeds for another crisis, you said little about the harms of inflation. I find this
The harms of inflation.
And you have finally began discussing
I love Maxine.
how the price of goods are way too high. Notably,
Amen, Maxine.
you mentioned that tariffs may need to come down to lower costs for America. So I have a few questions about
Maxine
this.
understands it.
As a former hedge fund manager in 2004, and I don't want you to go into any long details about this, but did you write a letter to investors raising concerns about the impact of tariffs, writing that, quote, tariffs are inflationary? Did you say that at that time, yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a New York Times article that, agrees that
New
you
York
said. Then last summer,
Thanks,
when you
Maxine.
testified before a Senate committee, you said, and I quote, there is
Check
no
out New York
inflation.
Times economic
Tariffs are not
article.
being passed on to consumers. You were quite definitive and even claimed that critics had, quote, tariff derangement syndrome. Well, those comments are at odds with the statement you made to investors that tariffs are inflationary. Again, I want to be clear, so just let me ask you, are tariffs inflationary, yes or no?
According to the San Francisco Federal Reserve, with 150 years of data,
That was in your
Yes,
video,
no.
dog.
tariffs do not cause inflation. San Francisco Federal
Well,
Reserve,
last November, as the
Congresswoman,
Trump administration finally began to realize
150 years
that
of data.
affordability issues in America are not a hoax, you told Fox News that the government was going to reduce tariffs on goods like coffee and bananas, and that doing so would, quote, bring the prices down very quickly. Mr. Secretary, why was that announcement even necessary? If tariffs aren't
This is very,
inflationary,
I mean,
and as you and the
this is
president
semi-annual,
like to
but
say,
like,
are paid for
even, dude, they
by
were
foreign
talking about
countries,
circular spending of
foreign
AI.
country,
I mean,
tariff
you guys are
on
moving a
coffee
lot
and
faster
bananas
than
shouldn't
Maxine
raise
to
the price
just
of either
say it
for
bluntly.
American
You know,
consumers.
where the markets
That's
are,
the
and if you
Trump
have been
logic,
monitoring, I
but that
mean,
isn't
again, the
reality.
true
It did
inflation,
raise
even normal
prices across the
inflation,
board.
even without
And you
those
know it.
indicators,
I
it
think you
dropped.
knew back
You know,
in
people aren't
July
really worried
also.
about that the same
real
way.
question is, why would you even impose
And then
a
again,
tariff
like
on a
AI
good
has
that a country
other
doesn't
concerns
grow
right
or
now
make?
that
Is
it's,
that would only
again, I'd
serve
say
to
credit,
punish the
maybe,
American consumer.
but more
Now,
so the
as you know,
the last
this
couple of weeks
committee
here and these
has taken a
developments are
bipartisan approach
a lot different
to
than what they're
addressing
describing.
another real affordability crisis. Housing. Rents are too high. There aren't enough houses. However, one clear reason that the housing crisis has grown worse is that you and the rest of the Trump
Maxine, baby girl, it's
administration
cheaper to buy a
levied
home right now in the last like couple
tariffs
years,
on
Maxine.
housing
Don't fuck it up.
Production goods like lumber.
You know
and
Maxine
steel,
got like a $40
as
million
well as
crib. I
appliances.
love her house.
These tariffs
Maxine
will result
ballin', size.
in half
Lumber is at a
reclaiming my time. You
Congress-
don't get to talk.
lumber is at a
Reclaiming my
5-year
time.
low, Congresswoman.
Reclaiming my time.
Lumber is at a 5-year low.
Reclaiming my time. Thank you. However, one clear reason that the housing
Bro,
crisis
she has a
is
nicer
worse
house
is that
than
you
Sam
and the rest of
Bankman
the
did.
Trump administration
That's the
have
irony.
tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel.
All right, you're coming
as
down. It's like
tax
Google,
savings,
Meta.
as well as
You got a little bit of bounce,
These
but
tariffs
software
will
is coming back
result
down.
in 500,000 fewer homes
A little bit. It's
built
just back
at a
to
time
open
when
that
we
gap
need
down.
More homes built, not less. Trump single-handedly made housing more expensive. And once again, you know it, as Axios has reported that you were planning to lift tariffs on housing production goods. In addition, the unlawful campaign the Trump administration has waged with ICE and Border Patrol terrorizing American communities has also harmed home construction across America. So I ask you, Secretary Benson, will you be the voice of reason in the administration and urge Trump to stop waging a war on American consumers and on housing or affordability and putting the economy at risk? Yes or no? You don't have to explain.
Representative
Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice of reason? Will you be the voice of reason?
A study
Yes or
from
no?
Wharton University
Reclaiming my
has
time.
shown
Reclaiming my
the
time.
big-
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm gonna start doing that. Fuck y'all. You know that.
When I ask
I
you
ain't never
about
arguing
time,
with nobody. I'm gonna reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my
20
time.
million immigrants.
Can you
took
shut
up the
him up?
housing.
Can you
housing
shut him up?
stock Of working Americans, and can you maintain some level of dignity?
Gentlelady's time has expired.
No, my time has not expired.
Your time has expired.
Your time has
Gentleman took
expired.
up my
Reclaim my time.
Mr. I think you should recognize that, Mr.
It's
Chair.
bullshit.
The gentlewoman's
He took
time
up
has
my time.
expired. The gentlewoman's time has
Well,
expired.
if you want
Chair,
to,
parliamentary
if you want to
Chair,
protect him,
the chair
Mr.
recognizes the vice chairman of the
Mr.
committee,
Chair.
Mr.
If you
Heisinger.
want to
Parliamentary inquiry.
Fight.
go right
Jerry,
ahead, but I
Jerry,
would not expect you to
Jerry.
do that.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I will grant very briefly any time that you feel like you need to address anything.
Again, I think the ranking member does not understand. that.
Mr. Secretary, I'm sorry. The gentleman will suspend. There's a parliamentary inquiry. Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Chair,
What?
will you enforce the rules of this committee so that the time belongs to the questioner and prevent filibusters from taking time away. And if those filibusters by the witness do
Spy
take
popping
time
a little
away,
bit.
you allocate additional time.
You got a Ukraine headline, but that's a big candle.
I want my time back.
I want my time back. You got a big candle in software, but it looks broad right now. Something on the 30-second just snapped.
Understand the definition of generalized.
Again, you have Witkoff and Kushner to attend meeting with Secretary Rubio talking. Trump relationships with China are good.
A Wharton study has shown.
We got our Truth Social of the day. That could be on the China meeting.
Adding 10 to 20.
Yeah, I just completed excellent call with G. It was a long and thorough call where many important subjects were discussed, including trade and military. April trip we'll be making to China. I look forward to.
Which is also
agriculture, lifting soybean count to 20 million tons for current season. They committed 25 million next season. Airplane engine deliveries and other subjects, all very positive.
I've got a number of issues I got to hit very briefly.
I believe there will be many positive results achieved over the next 3 years of my presidency, having to do with Xi and the People's Republic, President Donald J. Trump.
Regulators using tailored market.
I don't know if it's going to have follow through, but more soybeans essentially. That's the new one. A couple of jet engines.
Transparent,
I reclaim my time.
Approach grounded in cost-benefit analysis in coordination with functional regulators when evaluating potential risks.
Software about to break out through the high from earlier.
That is done primarily for small banks through the Office of the Controller of the Currency and the FDIC, and those chairs are intent on tailoring the rules for small banks so that we do not have another 50% decrease in Main Street lending.
All right, thank you. You outlined as part of the 4 goals, protecting, number 2 was protecting from cyber attacks. We have seen a rise in those cyber attacks in scam centers in Burma. And I applaud you and Treasury for some of your work in that, including sanctioning North Korean individuals.
Bro, they widen the fuck out of
weapons
those
to the
spreads. Hold
Burmese
up.
military regime, as well as the Democratic Korean Benevolent Army, a Burmese army group that has organized these scam centers. However, last week it was reported that Iran was secretly shipping vast amounts of jet fuel in Burma. And I need to move through this
Spy's
quickly
getting a
here,
little bit
but,
more off
that's
that.
why
Again,
last
China.
year I
Check
introduced
Baba.
a bipartisan legislation that would specifically
Baba and
require the
Boeing.
president
Yeah, Baba's
to
going up
determine
off
whether
of it. You
to
might get a
impose
little bit
stronger
more juice
blocking
out of that.
sanctions on Myanmar Oil and Gas, Myanmar Economic Bank, and foreign persons operating in the jet fuel sector of the Burmese economy.
The IGVs, though, they widen the spreads on those. Those fucking ripped.
Reuters report by noting that Iran's quest for, quote, new markets is a sign that President Trump's policies are working, which I would agree. I'm also aware that Burma's military leaders have attempted to gain favor with the president, especially when it comes to lowering tariffs levied on his country. This is something that simply cannot happen. I represent a significant Rohingya population and know that the active bombing that is going on is unacceptable. And I believe we must continue to impose strict sanctions on the Burmese military rulers. What tools can Treasury use to punish both Iran and Burma for violating both U.S. and other Western country sanctions?
Well, with respect to Iran, President Trump...
All right, Spies take... I think it's just a mix of the tech names and then other healthcare. Let me see where Staples are at. You got a nice little pop on Baba. I'm just questioning the follow-through on that. It's good news. It might wake you up a little bit, but I don't know if it has enough juice.
We had a large bank collapse there. The central bank was forced to bail it out, created inflation, and the brave Iranian people have taken to the streets. We continuously monitor trade between two countries like that. The good news would be Iran has a significant shortage of dollars to buy, whether it is weapons or goods for the people, or to pad the Swiss bank accounts of the Iranian regime.
We've got to keep the pressure.
Yeah, home builders are
Iran,
running right
but
now.
Also, that pressure on the Burmese junta, please.
Nail is back up. Damn, 11.
Lastly, I'd be remiss if I did not thank you in public.
Yeah, all of those
for,
are continuing.
your,
I forgot about those.
Discussion of desire to lower deficits to 3% of the
Yeah,
GDP.
all those home builder plays
I've
are still
introduced,
up,
along
all my
with
free ones.
14 of my
And then nails up
colleagues
fucking
from
11.
the bipartisan fiscal forum that I chair with Congressman Scott Peters out of California that urges the House to achieve this 3%
Again,
goal by
staples are coming
2030.
down, though. So look, you got
Tangible,
that
achievable
positive
goal that
headline.
is
You're
desperately
rotating a little
needed,
bit.
and we're building consensus.
Again,
here
you
in
had
the House.
software come
I
up.
know you and
Staples
the
are still leading by a
administration
shit
take
ton,
the
but
ticking debt
yeah,
bomb
you're moving around a
seriously,
little.
and I hope that to continue this
Look at
conversation
the high ticker. You got a
with
different
I don't know
names,
if you
but
can
it's
intensify
broadening
the
out.
I look
rest
forward to working with you on that, and I would note that the deficit to GDP.
Rubio, if
calendar
Iranians wanna meet
2024,
Friday, we're
7%
ready.
Highest, not at war, not in recession. Calendar 2025 down to 5.4%.
Gentleman's
I
time
yield
has
back.
expired.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from California, our ranking member of our Capital Markets Subcommittee. Mr. Sherman, you're recognized for 5
Yeah,
minutes.
I want to agree
California.
with the gentleman from Michigan.
Banks are going up.
To impose those sanctions on the Myanmar regime and protect, of course, the Rohingya minority to the extent we can.
Yes.
FSOC has to define what is systemic. I, for one, think that we shouldn't be focusing on the assets, but rather the liabilities.
Okay, I
We
thought you
didn't have a
were about to say
problem in
something dumb.
2008 because the banks had too many assets. We had a problem.
Shouldn't
because they
focus
had
on the
too many
assets.
liabilities.
We should focus on the
So
Rohingya
I don't
population.
see how most
Congressman, that's
here at the
incorrect.
Financial
Ben
Committee.
Bernanke, then Fed Chair said, could you please tell me what these assets are?
I'm going to reclaim my time. Regardless of that, I'm going to ask you whether you.
All right, high ticker's almost fully gassed. You're like 5 minutes off of the Trump headline. Again, you're broadening out. Staples lost a little bit, and it's starting to spread out with financials leading the way.
Promulgated interpretive guidance that prioritized an activities-based
You need some
approach
big
to
tech
systemic
moving,
risk
though.
regulation over an entity approach. Secretary Benson, you have indicated that you want to kick off a review of FSOC's activities and processes. The FSOC Improvement Act, led by my colleague, Dr. Foster, which I've co-sponsored, as you know, would codify an activities-based approach to systemic risk regulation. Does the FSOC plan to revert to the 2019 guidance of the first Trump administration regarding a definition of a SIFI?
Yeah, dollar is up.
Yes,
Where's
we
silver?
prefer an activities-based approach.
Silver's
rather
still up,
than
but
an
lost some from the morning.
institutional-based approach.
Thank you. I want to pick up on the ranking member's comments about whether tariffs cause inflation. You know, economists can say when the price of something goes up by 20%, that isn't inflation. It's a one-time price increase. But out in my district, when the price of something goes up by 20%, we call that unaffordability.
What
And
went up
to say it's
20%
not
in 12
inflation,
months? In the last 12 months.
is a sophistry.
Besides the
I'll point
S&P
out that
5
every
fucking 100.
time Democrats had and regulations that increased a company's cost, people in this room said that's going to cause inflation. Well, tariffs clearly have to be paid by companies, and if environmental costs are passed through, you can be sure tariffs are passed through. The ranking member
Gold and
asked
silver.
the question, why a tariff on coffee and bananas? I think the answer is obvious: to make our tax system more regressive. To pay for the big, bad, beautiful bills.
Yeah, all the software names are going. They're holding, though. They're kind of
cuts
stuck
and
at this.
taxes
There's
for
somebody
billionaires
dragging down
and to
software. It
fund
might be
ICE.
Oracle.
I used to head the largest sales tax agency in this country, and we knew the sales tax was regressive, but we knew it would be
Yeah,
even more
energy did get
regressive
clapped
if
earlier.
we imposed taxes, sales taxes on food.
China's Xi to
And
Trump
that is
should
what
handle
you do
differences
with a
properly.
tariff on bananas
China's putting out a
and
statement
coffee.
now.
Mr.
Willing to do
Secretary,
more
we
big
lived through
things
the,
for U.S.
bailouts,
China relations.
Of
I attach great
2008
importance to
when
China-U.S.
powerful men
relations.
lose
To
money,
Trump
they
should
now want
enhance
a government
communication.
bailout.
Should have handled
Does the
differences
Treasury
properly.
Department
Taiwan
or,
issue
the
most
various
important for
components of the
China-U.S.
FMOC
ties.
have the authority to bail out Bitcoin?
Could you please elaborate? What exactly does bail out Bitcoin?
Okay,
bail out
could
Bitcoin?
you
Congressman, that's a
instruct the
very-
banks of this country to buy Bitcoin, or change banking regulations so that they're encouraged to do so in terms of the reserves that they're otherwise
You'll buy a
required to have?
Bitcoin?
Again, that within the context of asset diversification within banks, they could hold many assets.
They can, and there are different. But do you have the authority to order banks to buy Bitcoin, or to invest U.S. tax dollars in Bitcoin or Trump coin?
I am Secretary of the Treasury. I do not have the authority to do that, and as Chair of FSOC, I do not have that authority.
So we're not going to see our tax dollars invested in crypto assets.
Bitcoin.
Why would a private bank be your tax dollars, Congressman?
This is a very boomer conversation.
The money of our taxpayers, which you
I know what you're doing with those bitcoins. You're gonna put all my money into those bitcoins. I know what you're up to. So I buy gold and silver. You can't buy my fucking gold. Bitcoin, get your little Bitcoin hands up.
Are you going to invest in?
And I will point out,
Mr. Secretary,
you want to invest my fucking money in Bitcoin?
Fuck you. That $1 billion of Bitcoin was seized, $500 million was retained, and that $500 million has become over $15 billion.
Gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman from Oklahoma.
I don't care about your little funny money. Who cares if you take tenant? Fuck you.
Thank you,
I reclaim my time.
Thank you, Secretary, for being here today. You've said that the current deposit insurance framework is a vulnerability for the banking system, that there is a competitive imbalance that favors large banks, and that this increases the risk of bank runs and erodes depositor confidence. Can you talk more about a targeted expansion of deposit insurance for non-interest-bearing transaction accounts, and would that strengthen
How do we go from
financial
that
stability
question to
within the
this?
system?
Congressman, thank you for that very important
question. what a shift.
Because there is the belief that big banks, the depositors, will not lose money. During a financial crisis, as we saw in 2023, assets leave small banks. And much of that is what is known as the payroll account. So I think
financials are going up a little bit. AXP, credit card companies, even PayPal.
Non-interest-bearing account that can have a much higher level of insurance so that they are able to retain deposits during a stress period. This is one of the reasons that we have seen assets leave small banks. It is one of the reasons that we have seen 50% of small banks disappear.
Continuing along this line of inquiry, Mr. Secretary, a robust banking system with healthy banks of all sizes reduces systematic risk across the entire system. Why is it important that Congress act now on targeted deposit insurance reform, not only for Main Street, but also our financial stability?
Again, deposit volatility, which is what you're referring to, is deposits moving during a stress time, does not benefit anyone in the long run.
And one more question on this perspective. Congress should look at giving FDIC authority to raise the coverage level for non-interest-bearing transaction accounts to an appropriate amount that is data-driven and put smaller institutions on a level playing field with larger banks. How would our banking system be safer with a narrow, targeted expansion, such as the one I've suggested?
Again, it would permit the small and community banks to continue competing. It would get credit to our Main Street, and it would stem deposit flight during a period of stress, which is one of the most
travel names are going up.
Financials.
So you guys remember yesterday we were asking about Airbnb? That was part of this whole software
something
thing.
I've focused
and
on
the AI
as
shit.
chairman of the task
They
force
all
on
got clapped.
Treasury
So they're kind of recovering a little bit
has
next
been
to
strengthening
software.
market stability and liquidity. We saw occasional bouts of Treasury market volatility last year. How would reforms to banking regulations like the liquidity coverage ratio and stress tests incentivize market intermediation for banks and improve market stability?
Again, Congressman, wonderful question, that it brings more of our Treasury market onshore.
And how much of the Treasury are you going to buy Bitcoin with, huh?
Periods of stress last year, the market
I know what you're up to.
Navigated those. At the end of January, we had the third highest volume in the Treasury market, and the bid-ask spreads, very important for the financial well-being of the American people who are invested in money market funds, in bond funds, in their retirement funds. They have stayed right in the center line, and we are at a 5-year low in bond market volatility.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I yield back. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from New York, ranking member of our Foreign Affairs Committee. Mr. Meeks, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Bassett.
He thought he was Nick Shirley.
You were working in the financial service industry during the late 1980s, correct?
I was.
Thank you. And well, I'm wondering, do you recall or you're knowledgeable of the Keating 5 scandal?
Micron and Intel kind of
Yes,
dump
sir,
in.
and I will point out that I was.
I don't want to.
No. I will point out that
Limited time. I have limited time.
I identified.
The
Gentleman,
Right,
just from
time.
Mr. Secretary, it's the gentleman
I
from
just
New
asked
York's
you a
time.
question. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows, who doesn't know, that the Keating 5 scandal involved 5 U.S. senators accused of pressuring the Federal Home Loan Bank Board to expedite and give more consideration to the case of Charles Keating Jr., who ran the California-based Lincoln Savings and Loans. It led to a 14-month investigation unveiling how 5 U.S. senators and staff ended up with more than $1 million in contributions, 4 trips to the Bahamas, and all expenses paid stays at resort hotels. Following the scandal, the industry saw sweeping regulatory changes that was launched by then-President George H.W. Bush. Now, Mr. Secretary, I'm sure you can agree conflicts of interest and improper influence by U.S. elected officials over bank regulators weaken supervisory independence and ultimately impose massive losses on consumers and taxpayers. I think that we can all agree upon that. And as we know, the basic lessons from the post-Keating reforms still applies today when the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, the OCC, is deciding to get a bank charter. I think we can stimulate that. Now, Mr. Bassett, as our nation's treasurer, I'm sure you also know that a foreign-linked investment firm tied to the United Arab Emirates government quietly bought about half of the Trump family's crypto company, World Liberty Financial. And at the very same time, the President of the United States was dealing with that country on foreign policy. Now, Eric Trump, the president's son and co-founder of World Liberty Financial, said, and I quote, "I'm not going to get into who the investors are, but I've got some pretty meaningful investors," end of quote. Lack of transparency. And it didn't end there. When Trump fans brought the tokens, they thought they were getting the deal of a century.
I mean,
But what they didn't know was that only Trump and his sons had the sole power to decide who can sell the token and when. Today, the price of the token has fallen over 50%, and the Trump fans who
I was able to sell out pretty
are now
easily.
begging to get out. Now,
If you could give me more, I wouldn't mind, but no, I was able to do
You
it.
can see it for yourself on the World Liberty Financial Discussion Forum. Yeah, yourself, Mr. Secretary. So, this is no longer
XLV
just about
going
a
up.
shady crypto deal or a possible gift when a foreign-linked investor is putting hundreds of millions of dollars into a company controlled by the president's family, and at the same time, this president is conducting foreign policy with that country. You know what that creates? It creates a national security concern. So, I'm not going to ask much of you, Mr. Secretary. I just want to know whether you will commit today to pause and heighten the scrutiny of any bank charter or licensing application at the OCC connected to the World Liberty Financial until all of these conflicts of interest and foreign influence reviews are completed and shared with the United States Congress. All I need to know is, will you halt it and do a complete investigation and scrutiny of this licensing application? All you have to ask is yes or no.
No, Congressman.
All you have to ask
the
is yes or
OCC
no.
is an independent entity, and I would know, Congressman.
So I take that as a no.
You traveled to Venezuela
I
to lobby
take that as a no.
Chavez On behalf of
I
your
take that
donors,
as a
on
no.
behalf of your
You
donors,
do not want to
Wait,
answer
what did he
that
do in
question.
Venezuela?
110
I take that as a no.
for a $7 billion
Gentlemen's
contract.
time
I'm
is
asking you to
expired.
do your
Ask the
responsibility
Secretary-
as Secretary of the Treasury.
Oh, he did not like
You
that.
do not
No one was
make
supposed to know
your
about
own
Venezuela.
Time is expired.
You
Well,
cannot
tell
erase
the
what you
witness,
did in
he's the one that went
2006.
past your time, Mr. Chairman.
No, and the-
He did not answer my question, and he wouldn't
order,
pass the
Mr.
time.
Meeks. He had 6 seconds left to try to answer your question, and the
It was
time
a yes or
expired.
no. It was a yes or no answer. I
Yo,
asked him, Willie,
what about
no, was it
Venezuela,
yes
sir?
Or no.
Chair recognizes
OCC
the
is an
gentleman.
independent
Stop
Mr.
covering
Bessent.
for the president.
Yeah, well,
Stop being his flunky.
What's a flunky?
and
Gentlemen.
He's talking to me. I'm responding
No,
to
your
him.
2006 trip to Venezuela.
Neither
Why
one-
don't
Stop
why don't you
covering
tell
for
us-
the
about Venezuela!
Don't be a flunky. Work for the American
Did you say
people.
flunky?
Mr. Meeks.
trip to
Mr.
Venezuela?
Meeks.
Work for the American people.
And maybe
Don't
you're
be
going-
a
maybe you're
cover-up
going to-
for a mob.
Maybe you're going to
As
see your
long as
friend
he talks,
Nicholas
you talk.
I
Maduro
will.
in
Gentleman is
Brooklyn
not
prison.
recognized. Mr. Bessent, please. I recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Sessions. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Yo, bro.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Secretary, welcome to the Financial Services Committee. I'm delighted that you're here. Mr. Secretary, we've talked with you about a broad range of things, not necessarily related to FSOC and your chairmanship there, but I
Dude.
would like to, if I can,
That was crazy.
talk with you something about the word public confidence. And the word public confidence does have a lot to do with
Every time he would say
financial stability of
Venezuela,
the country.
his voice would just start
There are
yelling.
reports in social media that have shown, and I don't want to put you in a position where you cannot answer this because of anything that you've learned in Minnesota with the $9 billion worth of fraud. But there are social media accounts that show people who are at a Minneapolis airport with
Did he say fuck?
baggage
Or did he say
full of
flunk?
up to $1 million cash attempting to exit the country. And I have engaged several people who have worked at Treasury to ask their opinion about that.
Why, dude? They're really mad at Bessent. I mean,
Not the relationship.
I think secretly
between
they're all Nicki
how they
Minaj
got the
fans,
money, but
and they're
just
just
that it's
mad that
going
he
out
got
of
the
the country and
opportunity to make a
following law.
TikTok with
Can
Nicki
you
Minaj.
tell us or give this committee
Because they're going at, if they
your
don't agree with him,
viewpoints
they're
about
really going
people
after him today.
not using some other
Don't be a flunky.
system, but taking cash up to $1 million through our airports to leave the country.
Yes, so that is a DHS.
I don't think anybody was supposed to know about his Venezuela trip. I don't even know it.
Of this.
He said he took 6 trips to Venezuela?
Integrate our FinCEN better with those forms. What we are trying to do at Treasury via FinCEN is to keep money from being wired out of the country through what are called money service businesses. So we have issued a geographic targeting order bringing down the amount of reporting to $300, and also asking on the form, if someone is wiring money out of the country, are you receiving public benefits?
These are all very important issues, and as you did talk about, Department of Homeland Security does have a role in this. I would suggest to you that Treasury probably has a philosophy about the role of the American dollar in the world economy. The stability that we have, the use of wanting to make sure that the dollar remains that dominant use. But I would tell you that I will be very interested if you have a working group on this of us making ourselves aware, because it is an issue to people who simply see social media.
We look forward to working with you on that, Congressman.
Thank you, Secretary. Mr. Secretary, as you have alluded to, and as the discussion here has been about banks, community banks, the ability that they have, you recognize, because you spoke directly to it, about the stress that they are placed under as opposed to bigger banks. Could you please talk to us about what you believe the role is of home ownership, which is increasingly a part of the political discussion and debate and discussions for members of Congress back home, of solving our home ownership problem, and you've got almost a
Yeah, tech's still kind of dropping right now.
and interest rates.
The bigger tech,
as
software
of course,
rally
people
kind of
know
fade in,
about
just
it
back
right
to
now.
open.
Good. Well,
But then
thank
low
you.
ticker's
And I
pretty
would
active.
note that I was also a banks and financial institutions analyst for 35 years and was instrumental in working with the government to bring down American Continental and Sun State Savings and Loans, which were the beneficiaries of the Keating Five. That getting small banks lending again, we need to get them back into the mortgage market. No one knows their communities like small banks. And that having moved into the larger system, the strength and breadth of the U.S. mortgage market is
Okay,
choice.
staples are coming
And we
back
have
up
lost
too,
the
so
choice in the small
see what
banks.
tech and
And
everything
I
else
think
does.
We need to get them back into the housing lending business, and we are seeing it's a tragedy that the average first-time home buyer is now 40 years old. 40 years old.
Very tragic.
Well, I had a discussion last night with the realtors about their importance in this process too. So I'd like to once again make sure we see community banks and realtors
Gentlemen.
and home builders all have an interest in
Gentlemen's
this.
time is
I wanna thank the
Kimberly.
gentleman.
I thank gentlemen from Texas. Before we
Okay,
move on,
spice
I wanna
coming down
remind
again.
everyone
Staples picking
participating
up.
today to
Energy is
uphold
getting
the
knocked
House's
right
rule.
now. Then a couple of consumer
And I'd like to
consumer
remind
tech,
everybody to respect
and
the
then again just
5-minute
watch here if
rule.
software fades, and then your
having
big tech
been
like
a
Google,
witness
Tesla,
before Congress
Meta.
before
That's
in my
going to kind
executive
of
branch
anything
days,
big tech, not
it is
software
important
related.
to note that our members can spend their 5 minutes and never ask a question or not. It's their 5 minutes. So let's try to be mutually respectful of each other. And I now recognize the gentleman from Massachusetts, the ranking member of our Digital Assets, Financial Technology, and Artificial Intelligence Subcommittee, Mr. Lynch, Massachusetts, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, based on early reports, and this is an analysis done by Public Citizen and subsequent news reports, when the Trump administration came into office, they immediately took steps to either halt, dismiss, or roll back over 100 enforcement actions and investigations against corporations in its first 2 months in office, with a very heavy concentration on financial services, consumer protection, and cryptocurrency, totaling over $3.1 billion in potential penalties avoided. Now, as a member of the Financial Services Oversight Council, is that a concern that you have raised within the council, all these immediate dismissals of cases against financial services firms?
Well, I think the Biden administration had an extinction.
Sir, please be responsive to my question.
I am. I am trying, sir, and this back and forth is just eating your time. That the Biden administration had an extinction policy for crypto.
This is when Trump came into office. I'm going to go to the next question because your answers on, Mr. Chairman, the answers have to be responsive if we're going to have a serious hearing here.
Well, the questions have to be serious.
Bitch.
Well, those are 100 dismissals of cases that the Trump administration came in and executed in their
Wayfair's
first
getting
weeks
murked.
in office.
That's part of the. I don't know if they had earnings or
All
not,
of
but
a
that
sudden,
sounds
all
retail
these crypto
software.
cases went away. The SEC was dropping cases. The Consumer
Again, the next
Financial
level is
Protection
going to
Bureau
be like
dropping
the
cases.
like the shopping sites and the
Look,
shopping
you're
plugins.
on FSOC with all the heads of these agencies.
fuck yeah!
This should be a serious question to you. Trust should be a serious question.
The
and
young
a
guys
serious
don't know what that
issue
means.
for the financial services industry, especially as the Secretary of the Treasury.
Well,
That's an important. No, this is my time. I haven't asked you any more questions. I haven't asked you any more questions.
It's the gentleman from Massachusetts.
I'm trying to get to my next question.
Could you speak a little louder? I can't hear you.
Yeah, okay. I might.
Mr.
I
Secretary,
might.
let Mr. Lynch proceed with his time.
Dog.
Put 4 seconds back on the clock, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Maxine's like,
Yes,
well,
Mr.
why
Lynch.
didn't I get that?
I just want to do a comparison of the FSOC reports. Let's go back to 2024, and then we'll talk about the current report. In the previous report, the members of FSOC expressed serious concerns related to potential risk to financial stability regarding the lack of explainability and high complexity of AI and the approaches that have a potential to heighten financial instability, especially in the areas of bias and discrimination in credit decisions. That was in 2024. Your report in 2025 focuses on removing regulatory impediments. So in 2024, we were concerned about consumer protections, and now, under your leadership, we're concerned with eliminating regulatory impediments. The dangers, and that was a report during a time where the chairman and I were co-chairs of an AI task force. Those dangers haven't gone away. In reality, those dangers are still as severe for the American consumer, but they are absent from FSOC's report. So it's obviously you've eliminated or dropped that priority.
Again, Low Ticker's been very active last 5 minutes, though.
Can you explain?
It's like gradual, but
change
the momentum is still to the downside here.
Consumer
Software is holding,
and
but now the
eliminating
Googles and all those other shits are giving up.
We are charged with financial stability, and we are focused on leveraging AI strength and the financial system resilience, but with economic growth and a security lens.
On the issue of explainability, any concern about that in the use of AI in the financial services industry?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The issue of explainability, how when people apply for credit and are denied, we don't have the ability for AI to explain why they were denied. Is that a concern? I mean, we are talking about the trust within the financial services industry.
It could be a concern, but we don't view it as a priority for financial stability.
That's the truth.
Yeah, bro. NVIDIA is dropping again, though.
Okay, Mr.
So
Chairman.
you got weakness in chips.
Gentleman from Massachusetts.
The weakness
Jill
hasn't
Pack,
changed in
recognized the
software.
Gentlewoman from Missouri,
But then you also got
Ms.
the other
Wagner,
big
who
tech.
chairs
But
our capital
just momentum
markets
here. It's kind of
subcommittee,
gradual.
recognized for 5 minutes.
I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Secretary Bessent. I find your answers to be quite clear, substantive, and, as always, well-informed. Thank you for being here. Early, sir, in your tenure as Treasury Secretary, you said, and you touched on it here today, and I quote, "For the last 4 decades, Wall Street has grown wealthier than ever before, and it can continue to grow and do well. But for the next 4 years,
SMCI held up
it's
great.
Main Street's turn. It's Main Street's turn to hire workers. It's Main Street's turn to drive investment. And it's Main Street's turn to restore the American dream." And as
Rivian
chair
full self-driving
of the Capital
expansion.
Markets Committee, I could not agree more, sir. For too long, outdated securities laws have limited everyday Americans' ability to invest in innovative startups. At the same time, the number of companies listed on public markets continues to shrink. And as a result, everyday Americans in Missouri's 2nd congressional district that I have the honor to represent have fewer opportunities to invest toward major life goals, including owning a home, paying for their children's education, or
Adobe is the
securing
one that really, that was an
dignified
8% move since we were talking about it.
Main Street businesses
I
across
see
the
you want to
Midwest
play, you
and
had
other
it,
regions of
Habibi,
our
but this
country
guy
are
is a
overlooked
very
as
big
venture funding and
environment
capital
today.
raising opportunities remain largely concentrated on the coast. That is why I have made it a priority to facilitate capital formation and empower entrepreneurs and small businesses across America. Just weeks ago, Mr. Secretary, December 11th to be exact, the House passed my Invest Act, a bipartisan package of 22 bills focused
All right, you're
on
bouncing off the bottom.
3 goals: expanding access to capital for small
Everything
businesses,
kinda.
increasing
A couple of bond
opportunities for
indicators bounced
everyday
too,
investors,
even though TLT is
and
showing.
strengthening our public markets. Capital formation is the lifeblood of American economic
Iran has
growth
earnings
and
tomorrow. These
prosperity.
are all the earnings front
Our
run.
capital markets are indeed
Damn,
the
they're down
deepest and most
15?
liquid
Holy shit.
in the world, and the Invest Act will ensure that they remain among the greatest strengths for decades to come. I look forward to continuing
That's
to
just
work
now
with
it's just
you,
going to bounce back up
and
to
the
earnings on it. I
administration
think
to
it was
advance
pricing in
these
10.
priorities and unleash the power of our capital markets. Secretary Bessent, in your view, what are the largest barriers to capital formation for a small business?
Congresswoman, I look forward to working with you, and I think I would bifurcate that. Most small businesses are individuals, and for many individuals, we have learned that most of them, 38% of Americans, do not own equities. So with the Trump accounts, which will give every child $1,000 seed finance, every American will be invested in a low-cost index fund. Every American will have a share of our great innovative economy. For small businesses, it is often, I would say, it is a duality of regulatory and access to finance. Americans are entrepreneurial. We want to get out and form businesses. And I believe that with the competence of being able to do that, and what President Trump's agenda has done, businesses now have tax certainty with the One Big Beautiful Bill, that 100% deductibility of equipment, of factories, and of ag structures. We have energy certainty with our energy dominance, and we have regulatory certainty as we are pulling back the regulatory morass that was highly harmful to both small and large business.
Absolutely. And as global competition for capital intensifies, the United States risks falling behind if our public markets also, I must say, remain costly or inaccessible for growing companies. How important is capital?
I think
formation
iron's part of the
reform,
energy stuff too,
like
in the
reforms included in the Invest
what's it called?
Act. Again, 22
That critical mineral
bipartisan
stuff.
bills that we brought to the floor with the support of 87 Democrats. How important are these reforms to maintaining U.S. economic leadership and long-term growth? Quickly, sir.
Congresswoman, they're vital, and what we have seen, as you correctly outlined, is since the early 2000s, the number of public companies available for Americans and indeed international investors to invest in has greatly diminished, and it has developed into a network of private assets.
Thank you. My time has expired. I have others that I will put forward for the record, and I yield back.
Gentlewoman yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Green, who's the ranking member of our Oversight and Investigation Subcommittee. Mr. Green, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I ask that you recall Liberation Day, the day that President Trump announced tariffs. I ask that you recall that when he made this announcement, there was a sharp decline in the stock market.
There was.
In fact, when he
Yeah,
made
literally
the
all the
announcement,
nuclear players got popped.
NASDAQ experienced
Nuclear
a 6%
energy
decline. The S&P 500,
I don't know if that's part of all of it, though.
a decline of 11%.
Wow.
I ask that you also remember that some days later, the president announced that he was going to pause those tariffs. And when he indicated that he would pause the tariffs, the market then moved up.
Wow.
Do you recall these things, Mr. Secretary?
I do.
I recall them very well, Congressman.
Thank you. And I ask that you also recall, please, Mr. Secretary, that hours before the president announced the pause, he indicated by way of Truth Social, he has a more than 50% ownership in Truth Social. It's a
The
great time to
MPT-MPW was
buy
like a week or two ago?
DJT. That was his announcement on Truth Social. And in so doing, Truth Social had a value that moved up. In fact, Truth Social,
Fuck yeah.
which the president has a majority ownership, went up by $415 million.
Okay, Spy
Now,
coming
here's
down
what's
after that little
interesting
bounce.
in
Low
this
ticker
scenario.
once again
When
on
he made
fire.
that announcement and said it's a great time to buy DJT, that happens to be the symbol for his stock, DJT.
I don't think that's what he was saying. I think he said great
I
time
ask
to
you
buy the market,
kindly,
sir.
And as one professional to another.
Maybe I'm misinterpreting this.
You think that this should be investigated, the president's stock being linked to his Truth Social message, and that stock having gone up by some $415 million? in a single day.
I think he was signing date. I don't know. Maybe I don't recall him saying buy DJT. I remember he said it's a good time to buy the S&P.
You think that this should be investigated?
No, sir.
Kindly explain
said,
to me
"No,
why
sir."
we would not investigate the president making such an announcement as it relates to his stock and then reaping some $415 million as the potential capital.
Well,
He
all
bought
Americans
DJT. He
benefited
misinterpreted
from the
it.
rebound in the markets that day, and in fact, the rebound in the market after that was the fastest in market history.
Yes, it was.
Broadcom
But here's what's
dumping.
interesting about your statement. You did not note, Mr. Secretary, that DJT had probably the sharpest increase on that day, 415 million, and that the president said buy DJT, and that's what happened.
I'm unfamiliar with the exact text.
Yeah, dude, did he say
DJT?
this?
Yes, sir.
He said,
Yes, sir. Exact text.
now is a good time to buy and have a salutation DJT.
Yes, sir. DJT immediately following, now is a good time to buy.
Those are his initials, as you said.
They are his initials, but it's also, do you agree that
Yeah,
those
bro,
are
what the fuck?
symbol, that's the symbol for his stock?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so
and
he
do you
just signed
believe
it,
that such a
DJT, but
thing
he's like, they
done
also
openly and notoriously
share the
should
same
not be
letters
investigated? Is that
as
what you're
his
telling the American
stock,
people?
correct?
Sir, I believe that anything that is widely disseminated is widely disseminated and available to everyone.
Well, it was available to everyone, but what he said related to his stock. could
Yeah,
relate
bro,
to something else,
April,
but to his
it's
stock.
so funny. I did
Here's the
not,
point.
hey, listen, bro, we bought the spy, dog. I'm just
Here's the
saying.
point.
But yeah, bro, this is the,
I believe
this is
that
a
any
great
other
time to
president
buy DJT. I think it's the
Making
signature.
this kind of move is almost a hustle. I don't want to say that, President, but making this
Yeah,
kind
we were
of
trying to
move
get our ETF
would
account.
at
I was
least
trying to
be
buy the
investigated.
spy, bro.
If you're
This
going
fucking
to allow
boomer.
the president
I
to
bought
do this
DJT
openly
and
in
it only
public,
went up for one day.
$415
You don't
million.
think this is literally April 9th,
What you're
2025?
doing is giving him a license to move markets, at will, make announcements.
There is punctuation. I don't know, but I can see the misinterpretation.
Hustling.
If you have no idea what's going on.
I yield back.
Gentlemen,
No, he said DJT, but like most people in the market did not interpret it as buy
Gentleman from Kentucky,
DJT.
Mr. Barr, Chairman of our Financial Issues Subcommittee, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, you came here
Yo, that's
to
funny.
testify about
It's a
financial
reach.
stability and
Yeah,
threats
maybe if there
to
was a
financial
money
stability. I think what we're
symbol
learning
ahead
from
of
this
it,
hearing,
but yeah, I don't think anybody
Mr.
was like, yo,
Secretary,
let me
is
buy
how much Trump
DJT
derangement
stock.
syndrome is a threat to emotional stability.
Yo, get this guy out of here, bro.
There's been a lot of lectures.
Is this
directed
how
at
he
you
reads
today.
everything?
Would you like to clarify anything or respond in
It's
any
a
way
great time to
any of these
buy
lectures?
DJT.
I would just like to say
I
that
guess if there was no
financial
fucking
stability
exclamation
analysis
mark,
centered
I
on
could
identifying
understand.
vulnerabilities in financial institutions or
You know, I think
markets
he
that
did
might
buy
disrupt the
DJT
provision of
leaps.
Credit or liquidity, disrupt other
That's why he's
sectors,
so.
and
That's
lead
why he's
to
like, you don't think
significant
this is
losses
wrong?
across the financial stability. This is what FSOC is chartered to do.
So yeah,
Thank
I
you.
guess DJT did
Secretary
go up.
Bessent, I'd like to applaud
But I think he would have
President
been. He
Trump
should have
and
bought the spy.
Treasury
Tune in,
Department for
YouTube.com.
announcing Trump
South stock
accounts.
market, bro.
I
We'd
do
help you out,
believe
Texas.
this will kickstart the American dream for children born between
I think that's just
2025 and
hilarious.
2028 with a $1,000 investment from the U.S.
I've
Treasury.
never really looked at it like that.
And I'm personally grateful because my daughter Virginia was born in October and
By
will be a
DJT.
beneficiary of these Trump accounts. Not only will this ensure that American children born in this time frame will participate in the deepest, most liquid capital markets in the world, but it importantly will also teach this new generation
that or his
about
fucking,
the power of compound interest.
His like
and will
staffer is
help
a
them develop
fucking
financial
dumbass
literacy
college
skills, which
kid. He's
will
like,
make
look at this.
owners
This is
and
fraud.
investors,
He said buy
and will improve
DJT.
their financial outcomes throughout their lives. Can you touch
Sir,
on
that was
the
his
impact
signature.
of these Trump accounts and how it will help this new generation?
I mean,
achieve
technically, he's
financial
right. It does say
independence?
DJT
And
in the
as
tweet.
You talk about
I never
that,
really
we
thought
have
about
the mayor
it
of
till
New
I
York
looked
that
back, but
espouses socialism. Members
I don't
of
think
Congress
under
who
any.
espouse socialism.
I was not under
How-
any
how
impression,
will these
nor do
Trump
I think
accounts,
millions of others are
impact
not like, oh
this
yeah,
new
buy
generation of
DJT.
Americans' view of financial independence versus socialism?
Again, history would show that people who own a piece of the action do not want to bring down the system when you are part of the system.
Okay,
As
calm
I
down,
said,
Peter Thiel.
38% of American households, they do not participate in the equity market. Many
Do you guys want to try to call
directly,
Peter
many
Thiel?
through 401ks.
His number was
Over time,
apparently
the
in
goal
one of the
here
emails.
should be to have everyone own a piece of the American economic engine. We have Treasury working with many people, are going to work on financial literacy. This will be one of the greatest real-time experiments in history. You are bringing Wall Street to Main Street, and Wall Street will work for Main Street instead of the other way around.
Well, on behalf of my 3-month-old daughter, Virginia, and millions of American children, thank you to you and President Trump for bringing financial independence to the American people. I agree with you that economic stagnation is itself a threat to financial stability. That's why we're pushing this Main Street access to capital bill, which will provide for more de novo charters of community banks, the TIER Act, the Community Bank Regulatory Tailoring Act, which would modernize these statutory thresholds to remove the static nature of the thresholds and allow for more diversity and growth in financial institutions. Can you discuss how indexing these static regulatory thresholds will allow banks of all sizes to grow, and how that will in turn help financial stability?
Yep. So, Congressman, I've said very often that under the regulatory straitjacket that emerged that pushed lending outside the traditional banking system, small banks became too small to succeed. And I think we have to fix that and tailor it to the risk for people who know their communities, who are concentrated geographically. And if you were in Iowa, you are concentrated in farming. If you were in Florida, you are likely concentrated in real estate and tourism, and we need to make adjustments.
And that will promote diversity in the financial system, which
I need to go through all of the Truth Socials.
Final question.
This whole time, Donald Trump was telling us to buy a lot of different things, you guys.
The NDAA, which
now that I think about it,
which will be overseen
every
by the
tweet
Treasury
has
Department,
been
the
pumping
Comprehensive
DJT
Outbound
stock.
National Security
This
Act,
is fucking crazy.
also known as the Fight China Act. The COINS Act will
We gotta get
ensure
to the
that
bottom of
Americans
this.
are not unknowingly funding the military-industrial complex of our adversaries by codifying and enhancing the Trump administration's existing outbound investment security.
That was the funniest
Can you
one.
discuss the Treasury Department's new obligations?
AI
under this bill, and how
startup
do you intend to
11 Labs
implement it
hits
to
11
prevent
billion
capital flows
valuation
into Chinese
as they
military-industrial
IPO?
complex companies?
Well, I want to thank you for this important piece of legislation. It is another arrow in our quiver, and I can tell you, as I am the lead negotiator with China on the economic front, it is very useful for me to be able to say, well, I'm happy to refer things to the Hill.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Bro, he really said buy DJT.
Gentleman's time has expired, and I recognize the ranking member of our Housing and Insurance Subcommittee, Mr. Cleaver of Missouri. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, this is an embarrassing kind of a hearing.
He said, I bought DJT. I'm wondering.
We've had all kinds of conflict. In fact, I was in here when the Federal Reserve Chair, along with the Treasury Secretary, and many others came in to tell us what was going to happen if the Asian markets.
I'm going to sell before earnings, though.
Asian markets opened after the collapse of the.
What time is it? Euro close in 4 minutes.
Of our nation. And I've learned that you can't make honey and sting at the same time. The question is whether we came here today to sting
or make honey,
or whether we came here to talk about
Adabe too,
issues
bro.
that are
Banger.
important to the nation. I got a little grandson. I hope. Well, he was in school today. I would hate for him to have seen this.
So is this stock not called DJT?
What I would like to talk about is your opinion of the dual mandate, stable prices, maximum.
IREN's on Thursday.
Employment.
Google and Amazon's on Thursday.
I would like to get your philosophy on that issue. Is that the creators of the Federal Reserve, and then the mandate, was that a mistake?
The Federal Reserve Act of 1913, which created the Fed, and then we have morphed into the dual mandate, and the dual mandate is a very delicate balance between maximizing economic growth while maintaining the low levels of inflation.
Well, so then you believe in, I'm assuming, the independence of the Federal Reserve?
I believe in the independence of the Federal Reserve, but I also believe in accountability.
I mean, can you explain how you put those two together?
Using a stock ticker?
I would welcome. We've seen these cost overruns. The Fed has the independence of the Fed is based on its trust with the American people, and the Federal Reserve lost the trust of American people when it allowed the greatest inflation of 49 years to ravage working people in this country.
Ravage?
Secretary, so the people in the country, there was a poll or something? I mean, you're speaking of the American people as if there's some human being that had an opinion.
What?
Either the Fed is...
Do you think American people have opinions?
Is independent or it's not.
I do.
Isn't that right? Isn't the logic right?
The Federal Reserve should be independent for monetary policy, and every other program it undertakes impinges on the monetary policy independence, whether it is cost overruns on a building, whether it is intruding in climate, whether it is offering political opinions.
Mr. Secretary, so you, being a member of the cabinet, you would advise the President of the United States to verbally and politically interfere with the decision making.
That is zero close. See if we do
Reserve.
bounce. Remember yesterday we thought we would, but we didn't really get much.
It's his
Let's see
right,
if energy
just
gets
as
a lift
Senator
off of this
Warren's
too.
right in
That's the
September
other, besides
24th
software,
say
energy's
that
not.
They shouldn't cut 50 basis points. They should cut 75 basis points. It's the right of everyone in here because again, there is no appropriation for the Fed. The Fed has magic money and prints all its own money.
Yeah, I understand how the system is financed, the Federal Reserve, but Elizabeth Warren is not the President of the United States. And I'm sure, I mean, her comment was in newspapers on the news. I'm asking about arguably the most influential human being on planet Earth.
Well, I will refer you to President Biden's last State of the Union, where he said, I believe the Fed is going to be cutting interest rates.
Mr. Secretary, can you tell me, please, what you advise the President to force the independent Federal Reserve to cut interest rates?
Fired, and I invite the Secretary to respond to the gentleman's question in writing. Gentleman from Texas, Mr. Williams, you're recognized. Mr. Williams is Chair of the House Small Business Committee. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here. I want to discuss the Main Street and Capital Access Act, which strengthens local bank formation, allows community financial institutions to refocus on serving their customers, supporting small businesses, and improving affordability for Americans. The one-size-fits-all regulatory requirements are particularly harmful to community banks, which often lack the large compliance staffs and resources needed to absorb broad mandates. So to preserve competition and avoid consolidation of the banking sector, regulatory requirements must be tailored to the size and risk profile of each institution. You've touched a little bit of that today. So a question would be, can you speak to the importance of tailoring and right-sizing regulations for community banks and the communities they serve, and how does a one-size-fits-all regulatory approach undermine the community-based lending model?
Again, Congressman, as I said, a banker from my home state of South Carolina with about $200 million in assets, so it'd be a very small bank, was told by a regulator she should run her business like Bank of America. She has 3 compliance officers out of 17 employees. She knows everyone in her small community in South Carolina. So it is very important that we set the correct standards for the lending risk and for the business success, because our main streets will only succeed when these banks succeed.
Well, 99% of the businesses are small. They need these banks.
Yes, and and just to be clear, I've come under fire from the Wall Street Journal, or they called me a populist because I said that it's Main Street's turn, and I will note that it's called the Wall Street Journal, not the Main Street Journal.
Thank you. Two of my bills are included in our
like that.
committee's Main Street Act. The first, the Merger Process Review Act, directs the Inspector General of the NCUA and federal banking agencies to examine the agency's merger review process to evaluate delay, reduction, efficiency, and transparency. The second, the Merchant Banking Modernization Act, would permit banks to hold merchant banking investments for up to 15 years, providing regulatory certainty and aligning federal investment rules with real-world timelines of small and medium-sized business projects that often take more than a decade to plan. So a question would be, Mr. Secretary, can you tell us what the benefits would be brought by greater clarity in merger review process? And next, how would allowing banks to hold merchant banking investments for longer periods contribute to growth for small and medium businesses and the wider economy?
Again, regulatory certainty for any business, as you know, as an advocate for small business is important.
More
And
biotech's
for
coming
small
up in
businesses
Staples
who
as the
don't
low
have
ticker
legions
picks
of
back up.
consultants, legions
Just
of
watch
lawyers,
between Staples and
regulatory
SPY. They're going to keep
certainty
inversing.
That is important, and the ability to grow through acquisition.
It is Euro close.
Also important.
Get the body moving, Charadonia. Get the body moving.
And stick to the framework.
Yalla.
Not to regulate through supervision.
Thank you for that answer. And finally, in the 2025 FSOC annual report, you noted that financial stability and economic growth are closely linked. You also observed that many financial and regulatory supervisory policies fail to consider their cumulative impact on economic growth, with new regulatory costs often evaluated in isolation. I hear this concern frequently from small businesses and financial institutions in my district in Texas, where layer after layer of regulatory burden from prior administrations led to millions of dollars and countless hours spent on compliance instead of serving customers and supporting their local communities, and they're hiring compliance officers before they hire loan officers. Again, it affects Main Street. So how do layers of regulations after small business growth with ultimately affect economic growth?
Again, it is a great retardant for economic growth. And I believe that if we were to go back and look at what's happened, Karen Pettigrew, a progressive, believes that this regulation of small banks has been a real problem. And that she calls the Fed the engine of inequality, and a lot of the regulation, the burdensome regulation, and has come out of the Federal Reserve, but also the FDIC and the OCC. And I think removing that can, again, get Main Street lending going again.
Thank you. I've got 34 seconds left. Would you like to have any of that?
I would like to add that under this administration, we are pushing for the financial system, the regulated financial system, to get back on an even, safe, sound, and smart level through deregulation, but not deregulation at any cost, but deregulation that will help the American small business, the American consumer, and those who would like to become homeowners.
Thank you for watching Main Street. I yield my time back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes the ranking member of our Financial Institutions Subcommittee, Dr. Foster from Chicago. You're recognized 4 or 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to our witness.
Thank you.
I mentioned in my opening remarks our recent letter to FSOC, asking them to look seriously at the risks of the deflation of the AI circular investment bubble, which is something you obviously read about every time you open up any financial journal anywhere.
The circular investment bubble.
I understand there was a letter similar letter sent recently by the Senate Democrats that received a similarly dismissive response, basically recognizing that, yeah, this is part of what we're supposed to be doing, but provided zero specifics on what you're actually doing. So how many people do you have that are actually assigned to looking at the risk of this circular financing, these off-balance sheet entities, the securitization, all of the parade of terribles that wrecked our economy last time and are looking to threaten it again? So how many people are actually working on this, and when can we expect to hear from what they've concluded?
Again, we are constantly evaluating.
How many people? How many people? Could you answer my point? How many people are actually working on that problem?
It is in all agencies. It is an all agencies
So, no
effort.
answer. Okay, I understand. They're not willing to give me a number on who's actually working on it. And when do you?
I could say 2,000, but that wouldn't be correct.
That's right, it wouldn't be.
Because some people may devote an hour a day, some people may devote 80 hours a week.
Right. When can we hear something specific? When can we expect to hear something specific?
In the interest of getting back to you and a change in tone, I am happy to send you a reply.
Okay, I would appreciate something with a lot more detail than something we got from the under assistant acting, whatever it was. All right. Also, well, last time we spoke, I asked you a simple question that I didn't get an answer to, which is, does this administration support a strong dollar policy or a weak dollar policy? And frankly, as far as I've been able to tell you, it's all over the map on this.
Bring up the chart.
Could you answer the question just simply? Do you support a strong dollar policy?
Just ignore this chart behind you. Answer my question.
You score your, whichever way you're trying to go. How are you doing?
We always support a strong dollar policy.
Oh,
okay. That's interesting because, as last time we spoke, I presented a couple of graphs which
is that Bitcoin dumping?
Interesting fact that every
time Bitcoin new low, and I mean gold and silver's down too.
In the presidency, that two things have happened.
They're starting to come down. Haven't broke through a low yet.
Weaker, and that manufacturing employment has dropped. And this has happened just during every Republican president in our lifetime, and the reverse has happened every Democratic president. The dollar has strengthened, actually achieved your objective instead of just talking about it.
I know the dollar,
but
that go back to the video. He ain't watched the trading fraternity.
The one we had then, when
see what I'm saying? Dollar strengthens, but what happens? Does that affect prices? The global, they don't feel me.
Which index are you using
DXY.
for the dollar?
I think it's DXY year on year.
Yeah,
and I think it's the last time I looked at it, it was roughly down 10.5%.
And you have
12.
the president on there, but under President Clinton, it would be.
I'm not talking.
It would be my belief that it was Speaker Gingrich and what he did.
I'm just talking about the president who has control
working with the Clinton administration.
I understand.
It's Dr. Foster's time.
Yeah. But you agree it is a historic fact that during those presidencies, manufacturing employment dropped, and the dollar got weaker during Republicans without exception.
Yeah, I haven't seen the data, so I can't.
I presented it to you on a graph. It's my understanding, actually, that later on in that hearing, after I'd left to attend a different hearing, that you said some rather negative things about the data, and that as a finance professor, that you would have, I think, given it an F, was, I believe, your word. And so that, all right, so now I'm not a finance professor, I'm a manufacturer, okay? But I understand that the first rule as of a manufacturer is you don't piss off your customers, which seems to be something that your administration just revels in.
Okay, SPY breaking down.
Especially. And so I think that
where's tech? See if Staples go down with him.
Why manufacturing employment has continued to drop.
Yeah, the software stocks are dropping too.
Day, we have seen a continuous decline in manufacturing employment, which was one of your number one promises.
Congressman, as a manufacturer, you would know that I can't snap my fingers and create factories. So there is a building process that is well underway. I could send you the chart on the factory groundbreaking.
I understand, and the fact that we have been historically a low tariff nation is, I believe, responsible for the really extraordinary economic growth over the last decade of the United States compared to, say, the EU, which was a high tariff regime. And now we are joining the EU.
I believe that we've exported
road.
Jobs to China, so you were touching on a lot of CCP talking points.
CNBC vibe codes their own Monday.
Manufacturers kept jobs in the Midwest.
Hot dog.
More credibility in finance.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Again, IGV is slipping again.
Want something inserted in the record? Would you like that document inserted in the record? Without objection, be included in the record. Gentleman recognized is from Georgia. Mr. Loudermilk, you're recognized for 5 minutes. Vice Chairman of our Financial Institutions Subcommittee.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see you again, Mr. Secretary. Thank you for being here. But before I get to my questions, I want to build on something that Mr. Lucas had talked about. This committee held a hearing in November about deposit insurance, and we had an honest conversation about the need to maintain depositor confidence, the potential costs and unintended consequences, and how we need more data before making reforms. This issue is just too important to mess up, and I hope we can continue to talk about it in a thoughtful and data-driven way. And now, onto my own
Cigna
questions.
settles FTC insulin case.
Bank Secrecy
commits
Act,
to overhauling drug pricing.
Or BSA reporting modernization is very long overdue and is required by the Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2020, otherwise known as AMLA. Increasing these outdated BSA reporting thresholds is, in my opinion, a critical.
Tech Nasdaq's down at 1.5 again.
Effort. The currency transaction report requires banks to report cash transactions that exceed $10,000. That threshold has remained the same since 1972. This low-value threshold has in recent years led financial institutions to file over 20 million reports on their customers annually. And as I brought up during our recent hearing, $10,000.
A lot of these software names kind of look like, if they balance, they kind of look very Adobe-like.
Just to give an illustration of how inflation has affected these CTR filings. The vast majority of these reports are filed on law-abiding citizens conducting innocent transaction. And I agree with something that you've stated, that banks need to be focused on their BSA reporting, or they need to focus their BSA programs on real illicit finance risk, and that focus on higher value activities would also better serve our law enforcement.
Again, you're broadening out, and now software names coming back down.
A few weeks ago, we had a markup in this committee and passed my bill, the Financial Reporting Threshold Modernization Act, that would responsibly raise the CTR and SAR thresholds while ensuring these reports are still useful for law enforcement. As part of your community, or your commitment to implement AMLA, will you use your authority to modernize and streamline the outdated reporting rules and increase the thresholds?
Yes, Congressman, we are studying this carefully. We look forward to working with you on it. The other thing that we are trying to do is to use common sense for geographical targeting, that we can lower thresholds with what's called a geographical targeting order for areas where we see disturbing trends like the southern border or in Hennepin and Farley counties, St. Paul, Minneapolis.
Right. And I believe under the program, those exceptions exist to give flexibility. You've talked about the importance of creating an effective BSA program that allow financial institutions to focus on high-risk activities other than just focused examinations on paperwork. How can you ensure that our financial institutions can focus on real illicit finance risks, and do you plan to consult them and law enforcement throughout your process?
Yes, we have done a very iterative process, especially with the small banks. And we've had numerous visits at Treasury. Our FinCEN group has been out on the road regionally asking for best practices, and we are working to incorporate to get the right mix of enforcement and common sense.
Well, that's good to hear, because after spending almost 30 years in the IT sector, especially with data security, I've equated to the way the system is right now as looking for a needle in a haystack, where the government's default is always, well, let's just make the haystack bigger, when I believe we should make the haystack smaller so it's easier to detect the fraudulent players. Do you believe that a modernized, effective BSA regime would hinder or undermine law enforcement?
Yeah, Staples going.
To modernize it?
Again, if it were done.
Again, these are all 52-week highs, and Staples are back up to 1.5.
Looking for criminal
So again, software's not as bad, but you're broadening
really
out the cell. It's just spreading out. Some names more than others.
So we can focus on where the bad players actually are. Mr. Secretary,
and Silver's dumping.
Congress expect to see the Treasury's proposed changes to the BSA program.
Congressman, I'll get back to you on that, but we are working on it with all deliberate speed.
Okay, and stand ready to help in any way that we can, and we appreciate your efforts and your service. And Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman from Georgia yields back. Chair recognizes the ranking member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, Mr. Himes of Connecticut. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome, Mr. Secretary, over here. Good to have you with us today. Secretary, in February of last year, during your tenure as acting director of the CFPB, you instructed the staff to suspend all rulemaking litigation.
Dow has 20 names green, 10 in the red. NASDAQ 52 green, 49 in the red.
In process at
and then
CFPB,
SPY 350 green still. So again, it's smaller names that are already down, but you still have more names advancing than not. You're getting this rotation.
Do you have a personal view as to the wisdom of an $8 cap on late fees?
You're like 10 points off of yesterday's low.
Okay. The president recently proposed a 10% cap on credit card interest rates. That's caused a certain amount of interest in this institution because presumably it would require legal action. So as Treasury Secretary, what are the plus and
Palantir's
minuses
part of it. I think that's what's slowly bringing it down. Not all the software names are down. It's a mixed bag.
That proposal?
But again, you're just kind of spreading out here. But
But
literally, just staples are taking off.
I think his view is that banks have done very well, and that by capping the rate for 1 year, it would give the American people the chance to recover from the horrible Biden inflation of 22%.
We were both in the finance business for a long time. Is there any possibility, any risk that such a cap would actually have a pretty constrictive effect on the availability?
Okay, still
of
going.
credit,
Low ticker almost fully maxed out.
subprime
No
borrowers?
headlines. I think this is all just these
would be very
software
important
tech
to
pieces.
examine
Everyone's just going to
as it's
staples. They're
being-
going to value, and
as it's being
then
put
anything
in,
tech
and
adjacent is just kind of either
Congressman, what
slightly
we've seen
weak
over
or like
time
actually into
is
the lows like Palantir.
credit
And then your
cards
big
used to
tech,
compete on
Tesla,
what was known
Meta,
as
Google,
APR,
they're not doing
financing
too
rate,
hot.
And now they compete on rewards. And what we have seen is that the APR, as you said, the subprime borrowers are paying higher APR, and the upper end borrowers are getting more rewards. So maybe there is a calculus here on how to diminish the rewards and cut the APR.
When you were asked a similar series of questions, you gave a similarly careful answer, but you said that there were bad actors in the, I think you said you were referring to credit card companies. Who are those bad actors?
I'm not going to name them.
So you'll tell us that they exist, but you won't tell the Congress who they are so that we might undertake some oversight.
I think you have very large investigative committees.
Okay, let me shift gears here. So many years ago, working with then colleagues John Carney and John Delaney, we put together a proposal for the removal from conservatorship of the GSEs. Last fall, as you'll undoubtedly recall, there was a roundtable held at Treasury around an issue that is really critical, which is housing and its affordability, and the
Bro,
fact that we need
Pfizer
to
had a
build a
pretty
whole
nice
lot more
bounce.
housing. The
Remember their earnings? They were
conclusion from
clobbered the other day.
roundtable,
Yeah,
as I
Pfizer's
understood it,
higher.
was really one theme, which is do no harm.
Again, all these value staples just got green
Over the
fucking
past
candles,
year,
like big sticks.
The president and Director Pulte, however, have tweeted a host of utterly chaotic proposals for the GSEs, including an immediate IPO, 50-year mortgages, ending special purpose credit programs, rapidly exiting the conservatorship, stripping away the GSE's housing goals. I could go on and on and on. Mr. Pulte seems to have appointed himself the inquisitor of people like Letitia James and Adam Schiff. And apart
Energy,
from
nuclear
making
is
a
getting
political point
clobbered,
here,
though,
I'm trying to
still.
point out that we have a
And
crisis in this
biotechs.
country around housing affordability.
And then Google.
The HUD secretary was in here the other day using terms like, I'm going to encourage.
Yeah, Google's down
the
3,
building of
bro. This is a
additional
day of
housing. So
earnings.
my question for you in my
So
final
again, I
minute,
think this software shit is still lingering.
What should we be doing right now?
Because again, Google
with
usually
respect to
does
the
nothing on the
GSEs
day
so that
of.
GSEs can create a lot less risk
Well, yeah,
for the
Google's
American
down
people
3 now.
than they represent in the conservatorship, but so that they are a
SPY's down
vibrant
3
part
quarters.
of an
Nasdaq's back
expanding
almost 2%
housing
again.
growth
You're
sector.
about to have one of those days where staples are up over 1.5, and then if the Nasdaq goes down or tech index goes down over 2.5.
Between mortgages,
Like I said,
and
that it's only
treasuries,
happened a
despite
couple
your
times in the last
statement,
26
is the
years.
lowest that it's been in many years. So
Yeah, but that's because the mortgages are effectively guaranteed by the federal government. That's not surprising. That's trivial. But my question is, what should we be doing right now?
But the spread is lower than it was this time last year.
Okay, you're a couple
and it was
points away
guaranteed
from the
last
low of
year.
yesterday.
Let me repeat my question, Mr. Secretary. You're an expert in the field. What should we be doing right now to assist in the production of additional housing?
It is a very complicated question, but the most important thing that has happened is we now see mortgages touched a 3-year low in January. So I think getting down the payments and again moving toward.
I thought they were going to be
Freddie
bullish on it
eventually
today.
leaving
Like I said, keep watch. If it doesn't like
our
crack in
North
the next
Star,
couple of
whose
days,
time is
people are going to recover it a little bit, and then you'll need credit to react.
The gentleman's time has expired.
It's okay. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank the gentleman from Connecticut. Gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Davidson, who chairs our National Security Subcommittee, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for your leadership at Treasury. Like the markets, I'm comforted and reassured by your leadership there, so thank you. And
thank you.
I hope you keep continuing the excellence that you've delivered for this first year
Your
in the
Excellency.
job. You know, the Export-Import Bank has played an increasingly important role in strengthening U.S. supply chains, and certainly doing that has been a big focus of this
Cop on the high.
administration.
Damn, the value energy?
With a whole host of policies. Given China's dominant position in many
Wasn't COP
critical
just
mineral
down?
supply chains and the bank's expanding use of financing
Or
tools
no,
to
I'm
address
thinking
these
Oxy.
vulnerabilities, does the Export-Import
But even then, they
Bank
got a little
need
bit of a
additional
bid.
capital or authorities to scale its support for supply chain resilience?
Again, it just doesn't help that like non-software
Yeah,
tech
I
names kind of
believe
got clopped.
that
And then you
John
mix
Condit
that in.
would
Again, tech
come to
or the
you.
software is just,
He's
it's kind of a
doing
mixed bag.
fantastic job. As the Exim Bank is overall, and it is the linchpin toward our move toward
Yeah,
regaining
Fannie
our
and Freddie off
sovereignty,
that.
with
Literally,
not
he
only
hinted at it
critical
ending.
minerals, but
That's popping a little
will be
bit.
semiconductors,
That might go for a second.
medicines,
It
steel.
usually fades. It kind of just like chills, but
anytime Exim Bank
people like
comes
this one.
forward and ask for more money for national security, I cannot.
Jeez,
stress
there's no way
enough.
that volume's
At
real.
FSOC, we are talking about economic security and national security are the same.
Yeah, thank you for that, and we'll be meeting this week, frankly, to talk about just that. So we need to reauthorize it, and I think that's things that we want to take into consideration. What additional capital, what additional authorities do they need? And that leads into the Defense Production Act. In the most recent NDAA, certain Defense Production Act authorities were shifted to the Department of Defense. So given that DPA authorities have historically been housed at Treasury to address supply chain vulnerabilities across the entire economy, and not just defense needs, should the primary DPA authorities remain within Treasury to make sure we get a whole of economy approach?
Well, we are working well with DOW.
BLS
and
schedules
I can
January
tell you
employment
that
report for February 11th.
defense
So next week,
priorities
6
are the
days,
same
7 days.
across the economy.
So now we
And
know our
it's
jobs
really
report,
with
February
it starts
11th.
with critical minerals, and
So literally next
DOW
Wednesday.
is leading that along with Exim
Again,
Bank.
3% on Fannie
Thank you
now.
so much. And as we work to reauthorize that and modernize it, this will be the first modernization since.
Okay, SPY trying to bounce a little bit,
since
software
COVID.
going with it.
We've seen the expanding use
See if
and
the
how
staples
the
reverse.
administration's made such a
They're actually
focus
just
on our
holding.
trade policy and reshoring. So I think the debate and reauthorization, modernization.
Again, you just literally
of the
hit
Defense
2%
Production
on the
Act, I
NASI
think
and then
brings
bounce.
coherence to what has been a major focal point for the administration. So thanks for your leadership there. You know, lastly, as Mr. Foster was trying to tout the benefits of communist money, I appreciate you calling him out on that and rejecting it. And frankly, during the Biden administration, the Federal Reserve posted positions. They were literally recruiting developers to develop a central bank digital currency, including
Communist
quote,
money.
senior crypto architect role dedicated to CBDC development. Are you aware of any
We'll start calling it
ongoing
communist money.
government or Federal Reserve
Are you
efforts
aware of
to
these
develop
commies?
a U.S. central bank digital currency?
Within the administration, absolutely not. President Trump has made it clear that a central bank digital currency is anathema to the creation of the U.S. as a digital powerhouse. I can't speak for what goes on at the Fed, but I would assume that they would not be part of that either.
Yeah, I hope so, because not only has the president been clear on that, he issued an executive order on it and said that we will not develop a central bank digital currency. And of course, that applies to the whole executive branch. Does that mean it applies to the Federal Reserve?
January
Again,
CPI
I would say
rescheduled to February
the Federal
13th.
Reserve has been very cooperative in terms of the regulation, and they're a bit of forward thinking with the Genius Act, what's happening with stable coins, how that fits within the financial and the payment system.
Yeah, I think that approach clearly contrasts with what really China has been working on, is essentially managed, basically programmable money by the federal government. And frankly, they're working on it with the Bank of International Settlement, with the European Central Bank, the Bank of England. Mark Carney seems to be a fan of it. And they're all collaborating to basically develop communist money and impose it on their populations. And it seems like you have a
Fucking
different
commie money.
hope for the future.
How dare
so as you lay that out, would love to work with you on the future of money. I really think it's going to shape the future of Western civilization.
I couldn't agree more with
That CNBC little hit piece on there, that one's still going down.
Has to keep the lead.
But some of the other
Thank you,
softwares
and
that were
I
bouncing
yield back.
chilled.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Ohio, Ms. Beatty. who is the
Ohio.
ranking member of our National Security Subcommittee.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, and to the witness. First, let me start by saying that I am certainly concerned about the direction of this country, this Treasury, this administration, and this president. I believe that our democracy is under attack, as well as CFPB, the Federal Reserve, CDFIs, HUD, and the list goes on and on. So I'd like to start with a question on community development financial institutions, or CDFIs as we refer to them, which you've played a key role in economic development. As a matter of fact, in your one-page testimony, you mention economic development or growth or security almost a dozen times.
Wow.
You also have stated promoting economic growth and economic security is essential to ensuring financial stability. Economic growth strengthens housing, business, financial institutions, so forth and so forth. Nationwide, CDFIs finance more than 45,000 affordable homes. However, applications for CDFI's fund programs have been pending for almost 12 months or more, and except for some CDFI funds for administrative costs, none of the FY25 program funds have been allocated. Last fall, CDF funds issued a supplemental application to CDFIs to ensure that they were in compliance with the executive orders issued by the administration, but funds still have not been dispersed. Now, my question to you, are there plans in place to release monies to CDFIs so they can continue to finance affordable housing projects? That's a yes or no. If yes, when? If no, why not?
Treasury has been working to implement the CDFI funds programs as required by law. Upon apportionment of appropriated funds, Treasury will be
Is this going to be a yes or no?
outstanding program awards.
Mr. Secretary,
expeditiously
no.
as possible.
I'm going to abide by the chairman's rules, but I have some rules. You can say yes or no, and then if you say yes, you may continue to give that support.
Fight.
If it's a no, then you tell me why not. And now we need to be clear. Yes, let's start with the yes or no.
Repeat after me.
But you're not going to do what you want to do on my time. Yes or no, or you can say I'm not going to answer it, and I'll move on.
Number 3.
Okay, so let the
Number
record show
3
that he refuses to answer a question.
No,
No, we're not going to do that with me.
previously answered.
We are not going to do that with me.
Ask it.
We're not gonna-
It's the gentlewoman's time from Ohio.
Now, you opted for number 3, so you get to hear my wrath.
Whoa! Give him the rat.
To answer a question.
Give him the rat,
under
girl.
Your authority
Rat.
and what this administration, and yet you've talked about the value of housing, and you're not releasing the funds, and I want the record to be clear on that. So let me move on. Mr. Secretary, I've asked you, as your predecessors, Democrats or Republican, Jack Lew, Mnuchin, Janet Yellen, and you a year ago, about putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. We started this process in 2020. At that time, Jack Lew said it would take 4 years. I sent you a letter. Do you know what your response was to me?
I haven't seen the letter, ma'am.
Well, you answered the letter. So now I was given a chance to help you. You responded to my letter just recently, because you know I drilled you on this. But now you responded to tell me in a few words, it's a complex process. So that's not really an answer. We know it's a complex process. Your Republican predecessor said the same thing, but he went on to support it. So it was supported by 3 people before you. It was scheduled for 2020. Then it got backlogged, because it's a complex process, to 2028. The last Republican said we would be on target to do this. So now my question to you is, why is it not on target? And why are you not engaged in this process? Part 1. Part 2, do you know who is over the department or the Bureau of Engraving and Printing? Do you know who that person is?
Sorry?
Do you know who is over the Bureau of Engraving and Printing?
I am.
Why are you making this about? No one said anything about Republicans or Democrats. I'm enjoying the show, motherfucker.
Do you run
Okay, you gotta treat this shit like Maury.
Then let me ask him to put it in writing because he doesn't run it. It's appointed by him and it's Patricia Collins.
Oh, I just
So
looked
let
at your
the
chat
record
facts. You've been
show
complaining the whole
that
time.
He was incompetent in answering.
Get a long term, bro.
Ladies, time
Staples.
has expired, and I invite the secretary to respond to your detailed question about that you proposed on the bill in writing. And I
prefer wrath.
Call on the gentleman from Tennessee, Mr. Rose. You're recognized for
Financials are leading right now.
Hill, and thank you, Ranking Member Waters, for holding this important hearing, and thank you, Secretary Bassett, for taking time from your schedule
That was
to be
it.
with us here today.
I didn't even go pee.
If you'd like to take a moment to address any of the issues that were just
okay, I'm
on
gonna
the
go pee.
table.
I feel like it's gonna
There are
end.
numerous incidents with counterfeited bills, and we are revamping the 50, which is the most counterfeited bill first. Congresswoman does not seem to have an interest in safety and security of American money.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Secretary Besant, I really enjoyed reading your recent Wall Street Journal op-ed with my friend Senator Bill Hagerty about strengthening Main Street banks. You make a compelling case that the current FDIC insurance limits contribute to an uneven playing field, where deposits flow toward the largest institutions in times of stress. Could you elaborate on how raising deposit insurance coverage would help restore confidence in community and mid-sized banks, particularly in places like my home state of Tennessee, and ensure small businesses can keep their payroll and operations anchored in their local banks?
Again, Congressman, what happens during a stress period, the owners of the capital rightly move it to where they believe their deposits are insured. There is the belief that large institutions that have a special exemption called moral hazard. And I think by increasing the deposit accounts, especially for payroll accounts, that those deposits will not be forced to flee. When a local businessman calls up and says, I have $2, $5, $7 million in your bank, I've known you, we banked here for 50 or 100 years, but we're gonna have to move. Many times they don't come back.
Thank you. I share that view. Secretary Besant, do you believe that raising deposit insurance limits would directly translate into more lending capacity for small businesses and farms that rely on community banks, particularly?
It was more entertaining in the beginning. But it's always fun with Besant. I don't know why Besant Besant pisses people off. I think he is a great Fed chair.
The ability to have capital.
Excuse me, Treasurer. But dog, I don't know. Like people really like if you don't understand the shit he does. Like I guess he just if you follow certain propaganda lines, you get very bothered by the said individual.
With their market share stable since 2017. In light of that, and given that the Terrorism Risk Insurance Act backstop has never been triggered in more than 20 years, do you see any clear evidence today of market failure or a pressing need for federal intervention that would
Someone ask
justify
about
continuing
deflation. Come on.
A permanent federal
They ain't gonna bring that
backstop
up till
at
it
current
happens,
levels
probably.
in this market,
I don't
rather
even
than
think they
beginning
know.
a
They only say
responsible
inflation.
transition to a more private terrorism risk insurance system?
Congressman, I have no data, so I have no
He's just a
opinion,
little
but
too
I will
intelligent.
get
That's
back
the
to you on
problem.
Thank you. I
If you really
appreciate
think about it.
it.
Dog,
And how
compare this to fucking
how does
Jigglypuff?
Treasury
Are you kidding me?
assess, if you could add to this, or you can address it now, taxpayer risk under TRIA today, and do you believe that that risk profile is consistent with what Congress originally envisioned as a temporary federal program?
I used to be an insurance analyst, but I haven't seen the actuarial table, so I'm not going to comment.
Thank you.
Yeah, look at the fucking
I was proud
actuary
to
tables.
vote
Come on,
with
dog.
for President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill and help create Trump accounts, which give kids a real foundation to build savings and wealth from day one. These accounts are a great way to help families in Tennessee and across the country start planning for their children's futures. Can you update us on how implementation of the Trump accounts is going
I think
so
he's
far,
sassy
whether
in his
Treasury has the resources it
sexual
needs to stand
preference,
this
but
program up
he
effectively,
does answer
and
pretty
whether
direct.
credit unions
I don't
and
think he
small
uses
community
sassy
financial
answers, but
institutions will be
he
allowed
definitely
to
has the
participate in
ability
offering these
to
accounts.
clap back.
I'll
But he
hold
does.
it
I mean,
backwards.
he's very
Initially,
confrontational. That's
there
what I'm
would
saying.
be
He's not like
one
he shies
master,
away from direct questions.
One master custodian for the accounts.
Why is that funny? It's
initially,
true.
these small banks will
It's
not be able
not.
to participate.
Like I'm saying,
eventually,
this is all public information.
the holders of the accounts will be able
EU
to
and
migrate
Mexican
out to
critical mineral
designated
news.
Institutions. The uptake is going quite well.
I haven't
We had
seen
a big
shit come
event
out of that
this
today.
week to roll out the accounts. More than
And then
a
all of
million
the uranium shits are
households
done.
representing more than 1 million children have signed up. I would tell everyone to look for the commercial right after the national anthem at the Super Bowl this weekend. I think
They got
we
Super
are
Bowl ad?
prepared for a flood of signups, and then they will go live on July 5th, and the goal is the lowest possible fees.
You knew exactly who
on
I
these
meant when you said
index funds.
Jigglypuff? Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Treasury Secretary. Hopefully no stinging as part of
Jigglypuff.
Gentleman from California, Mr. Vargas, who is the ranking member of our Monetary Policy Task Force, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and ranking member and the witness. I have to confess that I'm very disappointed in today.
I'm disappointed in your
I
tie.
think a lot of our allies are losing faith in us. We hear it in our
What is this
European
bubble tie?
allies, certainly. We see it in the diminishment of our dollar. But we always seem to have faith in sort of the Fed chairman and also the Treasury Secretary. They're always very serious people. They're always seen around the world as very serious people. I've been here for a long time now. I used to watch when a friend of mine, Sean Duffy, used to sit over there and scream at the top of his lungs at Jack Lew when he was Treasury Secretary. And the Treasury always answered in the most logical way, never flippant.
Never flippant.
Libelous. Would never say something like, sure, my colleague here wants to see Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. She didn't say anything about not wanting confidence and not wanting to have secure money. That was a very libelous comment that you made, a very flippant comment. It was very disappointing to hear.
They were just cussing him out.
To hear the libelous comment that you made about the Fed, that we lost faith in the Fed, you said.
Why is that libelous?
Today, because of inflation and the cost overrun in the buildings. You know, mimicking basically the same thing that the president said is about the chairman.
Why is that
He didn't say
flippant
it
and
the same way. He
libelous?
said it in a way that's a little more elegant.
Dude.
It means the same thing. Today, you've been very performative in everything that you've done. That's very disappointing. I wanted to ask you about the independence of the Fed. I think it is important. You
Of
did
course
comment
you
about
want to ask.
that a little bit. But today, I think it's been pretty much a waste of time. But sadly, I think it
enjoyed
really
it.
does erode the faith in our country. When a person as important as you give the answers that you gave today. So I'm not going to ask you any questions because I think it would be useless.
I just want you to sit in your shame.
I'm just going to say, Mr. Chairman, we've had some very
Oracle's
good
still
hearings
getting
recently.
clapped. That's
This
one of the
is
bigger
not
ones
one
that
of
has
them.
not bounced.
This is not your finest day, and it's too bad because I think you're a very competent person. I disagree with some of your policies, but you're a very competent person. The president has put in some people in very important places that are sort of caricatures of incompetence. That's not you. Today was not your finest day. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman from California yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Stile, who chairs our House Administration Committee and also chairs the subcommittee here on digital assets, financial technology, and artificial intelligence.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your service and your leadership at
That was
Treasury.
just
There's been a lot
I'm not
of
mad. I'm
energy
disappointed.
in the room today.
But that-
A handful of times you made some great points.
Hey.
You've been cut off. So I want to go back
each his
and give
own.
you an opportunity to elaborate on a couple of these points. At the beginning of the hearing today, Ranking Member
Cisco.
Waters, you were in the process of mentioning the 10 to 20
Again, you're
million,
getting another set of
illegal
software
immigrants
going
came
down.
into
Again, the
United
IGV
States
might not
during the Biden
reflect it.
administration,
But again,
functionally
Oracle,
as a blessing
Cisco.
of Democrats.
See
in
if the other
Congress.
ones drop, but then high
As you
ticker, you're
mentioned
getting
that
a little
and
bit
you're
more
building into a
rotation
comment
again.
about the
Staples
impact
still
that
up.
would have on the price of housing in the United States. The ranking member said, "Can you shut up?" End quote. I think you're about to make actually a really good point about the impact that
Thank you.
Biden's and the Democrats' open border policies had
Say,
on
can you shut up?
the cost of housing. The time is now mine, and I'd actually love you to provide
you?
a little additional
I
detail
love you
as
too.
to where you're headed there.
And I actually love you.
Well, Congressman, thank you. And to answer Congressman Vargas, who isn't able to stay for the whole.
You know, I'm pretty sure all those people
Or to hear
behind
my
Besson are
reply,
lawyers.
That as you
That's
would
his
have
law
seen,
team.
that when
Just
when
in case
approached,
somebody said anything, he could consult
I am
them.
happy to have a conversation. Representative Green, who is known for some fiery moments, and I had a very respectful back and forth, and I enjoyed my conversation with him, and it is a shame that all conversations cannot be like that. Yes or no answers to me mean that the representative has talking points from his or her staff and is unable to discuss things in a logical and in-depth manner.
Amen.
In terms of your question,
you just said you're idiots.
We
they didn't
have
understand.
had 4.1% economic growth for the past 3 quarters. We're on track for 3% growth, and the economy is doing very well. The financial stability that we are seeing, whether it is through growth or through economic security, we've been brought back from the edge.
We President Trump, your leadership at Treasury, we have absolutely been brought back from the edge. In particular, as we think about the impact of housing.
Okay, Staples chilling out.
was
See if you
Biden's
get Meta and
border
Tesla, Google, they
policies
calm down a
directly
little
related to
bit.
Some of the inflation that we've
We
seen.
see if
in
the bigger
housing. That's
software
where
is
you're
dumped or
previously
not.
cut off.
Yes, to come back to that, I would point to a study from the Wharton School that said that supply
Banks
and
are
demand
continuing up
works,
too.
especially in
Nasdaq
low-end
only
housing.
down 1.3. Again, it hit 2%,
Letting
then we
in 10,
bounced.
20,
SPY
we
at
don't know how
0.4,
many
Russell's
illegal
still down
areas
1, Dow's
that's
up
flooded
0.6.
into the housing market. They all need someplace to live. So what we have seen is that the Wharton study says that for every 1% increase due to the illegal immigration, rents went up 1%. So if you got a 20% increase in population, then rents went up 20%.
And
based
economics
on their-
101, supply and demand, and
based
Democrats
on their
drove
model.
up demand by having a massive number of illegal
again,
immigrants coming into the United States.
The Democrats didn't care what they did to working Americans. We're seeing a substantial.
This was the
drop
question
in rent.
Maxine told him to shut up on.
build another point you were making when you were cut off. You said that lumber's at a 5-year low. Ranking Member Waters then said, quote, "You don't get to talk," end quote. Again, the time is mine. You get to talk. Lumber's at a 5-year low. Supply and demand's in effect. What's the impact of that on the cost of housing?
That facts can be facts can be annoying for people who just want to make talking points. And the fact is, we have not seen an increase in housing costs. The increase in housing costs came during the Great Inflation, up 21.5% for consumer prices for the CPI, up much more, up in the 30s for working Americans. So that's the cost to housing and regulation.
We're still recovering from the Democrats' terrible policies. Let me get one final point in. I chair the Digital Assets Subcommittee. We passed and was signed into law the Stable Act, setting forward legislation.
Are you going to spend our money on Bitcoin?
Treasury is required to complete implementing regulations by July 18 of this year. Are you going to hit the deadline, and are there any impediments preventing you from hitting that July 18th?
Look at Bitcoin.
I don't see any impediments at present, and if we're going to hit them, we will notify you in the committee.
I appreciate that. Appreciate your service at Treasury. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank
I thank the gentleman. The gentleman yields back. I recognize the gentleman from Illinois. Mr. Gaston, you're now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you for being here today, Mr. Bissett. Appreciate your patience with us.
HG's been part of those staples, bro.
Since the U.S. captured President Maduro, the Trump administration has been selling
don't bring up
Venezuelan oil.
Venezuela.
Secretary Wright has said that's going to continue indefinitely. The president's January 9th executive order said that those funds are the sovereign property of Venezuela, but has directed you, the Treasury Secretary, to hold those assets in custody to facilitate disbursements transfers as directed by the Secretary of State. As I've gone through the 91 specific trusts that you have the statutory authority to oversee, none of those have any relationship to Venezuelan oil. So can you help us understand under what statutory authority is Treasury relying on to exercise the discretionary control over natural resources and sovereign assets of another country?
Treasury has no control over the...
I'm just asking about what statutory authority you rely on.
Again, we are operating under an agreement between state and energy that we are not involved.
No, but
we are not.
The executive order said that the Treasury Secretary is holding those assets in custody. That's a specific language there, and is facilitating disbursements. Under what authority are you acting?
I will get back to you with the exact authority, but it is under agreement with state.
Let me just clarify, because my concern is that the executive order cites IEPA.
Simon, just go to Reddit, dog.
IEPA specifically says that you have
just
to
go
be
to Reddit,
engaged in
Bubba.
hostilities with a country for
okay,
IEPA
it's good
to
for
trigger
you.
That claim.
You don't even care.
Secretary
You care?
Rubio
Do you
said
know
that
about
we are
software
not at
stocks,
war
dog?
with Venezuela. I would agree. I'm glad
You've been on like a 1 week tear
unless you
of
disagree with
only
Secretary
political comments.
I'm unclear under what.
Why
legal
did you
authority
choose
the
me?
United
Why did
States
you
has
like
to control
Josh?
and disperse those assets?
I want Josh to look, bro. You've been going on. Like, why did you choose me, dog? You know what I'm saying? I know, like you got friends on Reddit, homeboy. Come on.
Well, look, that's not true. But please provide.
I love you.
There because I'm going to get to why I think that's material.
You tell me about software
Last
stocks.
week,
Tell me
Secretary
about
also
corporate
said that the
bonds.
$200 million in proceeds was sitting in
Yeah,
a
bros
Qatari
just popped
bank
1.5.
by Venezuela. He went
Then
on
financials
to
are still
say
doing
that
good.
Treasury has a written agreement
No, but like, why
with
me though?
Venezuela's
Like, you
union
know what I'm
government
saying?
to review the monthly
Why were you
budget
like
request
stock
for
market
payments from
live
that
needs
account.
to have my political
Come back to
conversation?
where the authority comes
This
from.
is
What statutory
the
authority are you
Treasury
using
Secretary.
to
I
exercise
understand, but
custody indirectly
even when
through a
motherfucker not
third
on, you don't
country
even,
and
you
direct
know,
the
not
release of
one
funds
Mag
from
7
offshore
comment.
accounts.
You don't care about AI. You ain't get
That's
one
not an
Moltbot comment.
You're managing.
You know,
okay,
it's
so if you're
not
managing
one,
third
not
country,
even a
not
philo.
an IEPA,
Jesus
and
don't
please
even
do
piss you
provide us
off,
with legal
man. This is,
guidance,
I don't
because
get it.
This matters.
Now I'm gonna go on Reddit
What
for you,
controls
man.
are
I'm
you
gonna
putting
check
to
Reddit
audit
out right
those
now.
flows? Because as you know, the Venezuelan government still has a lot of shady people. How are you
got a
controlling
banana
the dispersion
latte?
of those flows so that they don't go back to some of the shady
From Bros?
characters
That sounds
the
really
president's
good.
concerned about in Venezuela? What is the audit process?
Again, we will be bringing in outside auditors for this, and the Venezuelan government will be producing.
Do you have an agreement in place right now for those auditors?
Sorry?
A nearby fire department said they cannot use fire hydrants to fight fire.
Okay, because Secretary Rubio,
billionaire investor Ken Griffin accuses Trump of enriching itself.
The Treasury had handled the agreement that he
This
would be
fits,
providing
bro.
to the Senate.
700 ICE agents
Are you
to
saying
leave
that
Minnesota.
Secretary Rubio was incorrect, or that you're not aware of the agreement that Treasury directed according to Secretary
I'm saying I'm not aware of the
So I'm saying, bro, this is
Okay, so
your
Secretary
home.
Rubio said he would provide
Your
that to the Senate
tribe,
committee.
bro.
Can you
Your
please
tribe.
coordinate
Get
with
up on
Secretary
there.
Rubio,
Tell
give us
us,
your
be
word
like,
to provide
yo,
us what Secretary
I was
Rubio
listening
provided,
to
because he's
Besson.
alleging that was done under your
And then you
With
stop your
pleasure,
country.
Congressman. And just so you know, the
It's a
goal
toilet,
here
but
is-
what's up with the shape?
It's been 30 days.
I want to
feel
just
it.
move, reclaim my time, because the concern I have is that this
Am I
would
the
be considered
asshole
a
for
fraudulent
explaining
conveyance. I have a
consequences of his
specific
actions
concern
to
that we've
his- to
entered
my
into
son?
contracts with companies like Vitol, who have pled guilty to bribery and all sorts of nefarious
Actual
actions.
footage,
If I was a
Mars
company
right now?
buying
I don't think that's real.
stolen goods and we didn't have statutory authority, I'm going to have a lot of creditors coming after me.
Yeah,
One
the
last thing,
SpaceX
sir.
non-banking
I
thing's
wanna
hitting
read
the
you a
wire.
quote. Trump will pursue a weak
Kid
dollar
Rock song
policy
about
rather
loving
than implementing
underage
tariffs.
girls
Tariffs are inflationary
resurfaces.
and would strengthen the dollar.
So I'm saying,
Do
bro.
you recognize that quote?
Let's go gamble
I
to
believe
win.
You're referring
That's
to
an act.
a letter that I wrote, and
Yes.
tariffs could be inflationary.
Created an
No, it says
escort
tariffs
service.
are inflationary.
Yep. You
You
know
look
what?
so stupid,
had
I
said
can't
to the
breathe. You see,
chairwoman,
go let out your
I'd like to
anger
introduce
here,
into the record
bro.
a January 31, 2024 letter from, quote, Scott Bessent and the Key Square team to
PhD
your partners,
found
where
lottery
that quote comes
algorithm
Without
and won
objection.
4 earnings around
from. Do you want to
21
correct
million.
what
That could be
said
you,
to the
dog.
ranking member when you specifically said that you did not say tariffs are inflationary?
Well, I think she referenced a letter
Rand
in
Paul
the summer,
naturalized elections. That's
something
not what the Constitution
No, I
says.
think you disparaged the New York Times.
Sorry?
You said tariffs are inflationary.
Sorry?
What is
You
this on my
said
grandpa's
tariffs
keychain?
are inflationary.
Tariffs-
Do you want to correct what you said to the ranking member, or did you lie?
If I was mistaken, I want to correct it. And I was also
Yeah, bro.
mistaken when I said that tariffs could be inflationary.
It's your tribe,
because they
bro.
Gentleman's
haven't been.
time has expired.
We've seen inflation drop to 2.1%.
Gentleman's time has expired. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from South Carolina. Mr. Timmons, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Secretary, it is great to see you again, and thank you for being here. Your experience and leadership at Treasury are widely respected and appreciated as we work to make the U.S. economy more competitive in the global economy. And I know you were hearing some questions about tariffs. Is that the purpose of the last year, to renegotiate our trade agreements to make the U.S. economy more competitive?
I don't know
in
what's
the
up with
global
bros.
economy?
Again, a lot of the food plays have been up.
100%. The
Top Republican senator says
numerous
Fed
goals,
Powell
but
didn't
it
commit
is
a
to make
crime.
the U.S. economy more resilient. We're We're now seeing 4.1% growth for the past 3 quarters. So we are seeing inflation drop.
Call it statutory.
tariff
Why are you
inflation was
ignoring
developed
me
in
though,
March.
bro?
Well, I appreciate
Simon,
it. I think
I
that
want to
the
connect with you by
businesses that
getting
are
you to
trying
go to
feed the global
Reddit.
economy are far better off because of the last
Why
year.
did you
There was some
choose
strain
me,
due to the
Simon?
uncertainty, But most of that is behind us, and I just really appreciate
Simon,
your hard work.
please, Simon.
Additionally, after several years of regulatory uncertainty,
Why is Simon
pervasive
ignoring
government
me?
Overreach, it is encouraging to
But
see
he only
serious
responds
leadership at Treasury
politically,
focus on
Simon. Are
restoring
you a
balance
bot?
to our financial system.
Are you a
That
buy?
work matters not only
What's
to
up,
markets,
Simon?
but to families, small businesses, and communities across
Micron on the low again, so
We've
watch
called
if the
for
chips go down
fundamental
more.
reset
And
of financial
software, Staples
regulation,
catching a
emphasize
bid.
Treasury's role in promoting
Simon ignoring me.
appropriately tailored regulation to support
He's been on a
economic growth.
2-week tear of
I
only
agree
the
with that
political.
approach. While
Join
there's
Stock
been
Market Live
progress on
to
tailoring
get political.
supervision,
Come on,
far less has
Simon.
been done to modernize regulatory tailoring itself, particularly the interagency thresholds that trigger enhanced prudential
You
standards
think
for
Simon's a
Category
bot?
2
Simon,
through
they
4
think you're a
banks.
bot in China now.
Those
I think
thresholds were
Simon's
set
he has a
years ago
membership.
and have not been updated to reflect inflation, economic growth, or changes in the financial system. As a result, banks that were never intended to be treated like GSIBs are increasingly subject to requirements that do not match their risk profile.
More
Republicans
XLPs.
on this committee raised this concern in a letter to the federal banking agencies last November. Mr. Secretary,
Oh,
my
that was
question is this:
Mars, Utah?
How are
That
Treasury
makes sense.
and the Financial Stability
I
Oversight
said I don't
Council
think that was
working to
real.
coordinate across the agencies to modernize and update
Kimberly
these
could have done
thresholds
better, but
and
I'll
to
take it.
ensure that regulatory
I think
tailoring
TAP is
keeps pace with
disgusting.
economic reality
TAP
rather than
looks good
falling
above
further
50.
behind it.
Congressman, I believe there's a chance that the community banker who I referenced with 200 million assets may have actually been from your district. So we are all hands on deck, and we've seen 50% of these institutions.
You love me. You've been watching since I was a
and we are
liberal.
working as quickly as we can.
Is that why you
Again,
chose me for? But like, come on
one
though.
size fits all
Do you
for
have like a
regulation
long
is
term?
a disaster. And,
Do you have stocks, brother? He responded
woman,
finally, Simon.
The bank president.
I
and
thought you were
owner from
ignoring
your
me, Simon.
district, said,
But Simon,
Bank America's
all of your
regulatory
comments are
regime
political,
is
Simon.
not good
I
for
would argue
something
complaining,
in
Simon.
the Piedmont
I like
and
saying your
upcountry
name,
in
Simon.
South Carolina for a bank with
So,
200
and then
million
banks are ripping. Bank of America,
Agree more.
BK, JPM.
Tailoring should apply not only to prudential standards, but also to
You
supervision
did just talk
itself.
about banking requirements.
For example, my bipartisan legislation, the SMART Act, would allow smaller, well-managed, and well-capitalized institutions
You got
to
gifted
combine
this
certain
membership.
consumer
That's good, but
compliance
why are
and,
you fucking
IT
it up, man?
exams, reducing unnecessary
Do you have a
burden while
long term?
preserving
Email me
strong
your long
oversight.
term, Simon.
Mr. Secretary, how can
But why did you
legislation like
choose?
the
But why
SMART
do you
Act and other
choose to put your
bipartisan
political
efforts this
comments in
committee has
here?
advanced
Only
help build on the
political
principle
comments.
of
You know, if
tailoring
you had
and
more
restore
stock
a
shit,
regulatory
I'd
framework
understand.
that
But
truly works for Main
it seems
Street
like you don't talk
without
about stocks
compromising
with
safety
us.
and soundness.
Congressman, I think it may be very
You've been watching
important
since
to
I
put
said
this
before I'd
into
never charge
a-
for your channel.
a
But do you see
regulatory
why I
framework,
might have had
because
to?
what we've seen for too long
Because some people
is
just
the
come in
bank
here not even for
examiner
stocks.
said to the
And then they're like, I've
$200
watched you for 5 years.
banker,
I didn't get a long term.
should be more like Bank
And
of
now,
America. We
you know what I'm
cannot
saying? It
have,
distracts a lot of people.
supervision,
You know, like this
or
might
we
be
cannot have
distracting to
regulation
some.
done through supervision. We need to
Come
have
on,
clear
Simon.
guidelines for
Do you,
tailoring
can you send me your
for,
long term, Simon? Please,
many
Simon.
banks, as I said earlier, are industry
Long term is a
concentrated,
check, my guy.
geographic
What does that mean,
concentrated, and
Simon?
we have got to push this
Do you guys
through, or
understand that?
we're going to,
Non-Simons?
They will be too small to succeed.
I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you
I
for that.
couldn't agree.
I
I
wanna
like
close
this
by
guy. Look at
discussing
his
the
bald
trillions
maxing,
of
dude.
dollars in foreign direct investment that you and President Trump have shepherded into the United States over the past year. In our home state of South Carolina alone,
You think
hundreds
he's
of
a
billions
trust
of dollars
fund
in new
baby?
investment have been announced.
He's an actual
that will create
NPC.
high-paying,
You're convinced?
highly
No.
skilled jobs for our communities.
He said he's
Nearly
watched since
every
before
week
I
I'm
was a
in Washington,
liberal.
I meet with a foreign
And before I
manufacturer
said
that is
I'd never
expanding its
charge.
footprint in the
Even though he's listening to
And I
me
also
for
wanna
free
thank you
right
for your
now.
work to remove tariffs
And
from
then he's
coffee,
part of the reason
which
why
has been
we have
directly
to
welcomed by
get people
manufacturers like
focused.
Keurig
But
in
that's
South
okay.
Carolina that have benefited
It's
from
okay.
this
I
administration's
understand, but like
commitment
I don't.
to fair and
I'm trying to
sensible trade
connect.
policy. It's hard to believe that the largest
hard to
coffee
believe.
manufacturer in the world is in Spartanburg, South Carolina, but it is, and we greatly appreciate your work to help make sure that they're competitive in the U.S. economy and in the global economy. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back. Thank you.
And Congressman,
Ju-
I would just
release the
point out,
coin of
gentlemen,
judgment?
There's a lot of discussion.
Well,
on
no,
coffee
I think it's a
prices.
good
Gentlemen,
example.
coffee prices
I would love
experiencing
to open
global
up the chat, but
nosedive
remember, we
rise.
opened it up the beginning of of this month.
Mr. Secretary, if you'd
And then
respond in
a lot
writing
of
if you
people
have
only
more
use
on
this
that
to
topic.
kind
Now,
of be
Chair
weird about
recognizes
like
the
talk to me
gentlewoman
about
from
stocks. I like stocks.
Massachusetts,
I'm good at
Ms.
it.
Presley, you're recognized
You know,
for
you guys,
5
there's some really, really good ones, but
Mr. Secretary, it
some
took,
people only come in here
a
to
year to get
post their
Secretary
Reddit comments.
Turner before
That's
this
why I'm
hearing, so
asking,
I'm
why
grateful for
me?
your return.
Spy
And I
going
wanna pick
down.
up, we left off 9 months
Yo,
ago.
bigger drop.
The
Check
average
your
American
Truth
spends over
Social.
$20,000 on baby costs
Yo,
in the first
bigger
year of
drop.
having a baby.
Hot
Essential
dog.
products like car seats are more expensive because of Trump tariffs. You told me
Besson,
last
no president
time
agree. I don't see anything.
that they
That's
were
a
under
bigger
consideration,
candle.
but nothing has
It's
changed
everything. That's broad based
since
right now.
May of last
See,
year.
Simon, Is this why you're
much
here,
to the
Simon?
distress of families.
Yeah, oil took a stick.
There is
It could
still
be some
no
war
exemption
shit.
for tariffs on baby products. For the record, Mr. Secretary, how
Yeah,
many
it's something
tariff
with oil right
exemptions
now.
are
I'm checking.
There are actually very few.
Where's my Truth Social? Nothing on Trump.
Right. Actually, I think there's some 30 pages
No, I don't
of
see anything yet.
exemptions totaling over 1,000, including
Yeah, literally, bro.
for
You just got
asbestos.
clapped.
Can you
Oil's
explain to
rocketing
families
up.
across America,
Nothing
working
across the
families
wire. I
struggling
feel like we
against
about to get a
me?
Reuters one.
Why baby products that are required
Yeah,
by
oil
law
about 0.5%,
are not
1%.
exempt from Trump's tariffs?
Again, Congressman.
Treasury, no, it's all Treasury ones, bro.
It is a matrix, and many of these products, unfortunately, are made in China. And
It's chilling out, but
everything
something
that goes
snapped
to-
It's
there,
an
bro.
unacceptable answer. You've had
Nuclear
9
talks
months, you
were
told me it was
canceled
under
on
consideration.
Friday.
You've had 9 months to think
So
about it.
Iran
Now you've been thinking
escalation,
about it.
essentially.
Working families have been struggling.
This is the
When it
same setup as
required by
yesterday.
law
You were
that
down
they
about one
have,
and some
many
change.
of these,
Middle of the
essential
day. This
baby
is happening
products.
earlier, but
Your
middle of the
report
day, we're
from the
getting
Department
another
of
Iran
Treasury refers
comment.
to them, car
And then
seats
now
as
you got
essential safety
fucking
tools.
software just has to go
So
down.
if you can acknowledge that, this is.
I will acknowledge the gas to run the car.
Well,
Is that
listen,
from Reuters?
You've included asbestos.
I really think
in
that's a
your
Reuters one.
exemptions. So you're telling me you can do asbestos and not baby products that are. Excuse me, it's my time.
I think you would want children.
Yeah,
Secretary,
so oil's up on
Secretary,
that.
Mr.
But
Secretary,
again, another
American
Iran
newborns don't wanna hear
escalation
your
thing like
excuses.
yesterday.
They need to keep their babies safe. They
Simon,
wanna
did you
comply
get
with the
that?
law, and they need
Simon,
action to
you
lower
got it
costs.
still earlier than the world,
So will
Simon.
you exempt baby
I just want to
products
make
from
sure you
tariffs,
got
yes
it,
or no?
Simon.
Again,
Hopefully no one
Yes or
charged you,
no?
Simon,
We-
and everybody else.
We will look at.
Amen.
Mr. Secretary, respectfully.
Axios reporter?
Yes
I do
or
not. I am the
no?
Treasury Secretary. I am not the USTR.
Claiming my
I am
time.
So
not the
again, remember
President.
yesterday, a lot of people were doubting the Iran stuff, but like,
I'll take
it gave you a
It's
knocked off
Secretary,
everybody,
you're
even the
taking
banks.
time. Claiming my time, Mr.
This is
Secretary.
Financial Stability Oversight Council.
Mr.
Yeah,
Secretary.
Staples did not even fucking budge.
And I ask for your advocacy then, because a no or a non-answer is unacceptable.
Yeah, it's
to the
that. It's
working
that.
class
Oil was
you
the
claim to
tell
care
on
so
that.
much about.
Because nothing really moved on tech. There wasn't anything
Congresswoman,
policy-wise,
I
but
agree with
moving
you.
on.
You will have my advocacy.
Okay, thank you. Can you say that again for the record?
Sorry.
Can you say that again for the record?
I am.
I will have your advocacy
I am one voice.
for an exemption.
I am one voice.
Iran.
Okay. Have you been paying attention to the
Well,
high rate of
RTX and
unemployment for
LMT
black
got dumped
workers?
on. But they might
you
wake
aware of
up.
that?
LMT is going
The
up.
high unemployment rate
Again,
for black
oil
workers?
really rocketed.
It is
Oh
traditionally
shit, do we
higher
have that oil?
than for all workers.
Well, listen.
Yeah, that
it's
thing's
through the
up a
roof
lot.
right now. There's hundreds
they
of
took
thousands
the
of
bid
black
off of
workers
it.
that have been pushed out of the workforce, and the unemployment rates for
N12
black
Barack
workers and all
Ravid
workers are among
Axios.
the
Yeah.
highest they've been since
Nuclear
the
talk set
COVID-19
for
pandemic.
Friday after
Black
Iran
workers
backed out of
contribute
understanding.
Over $1 trillion to the
That doesn't
US
sound
economy,
as
but the
bad as
push out of
yesterday.
these workers
They fucking
from the
blew up a
workforce has
drone.
led to a loss of
But yeah, VIX,
$37
NASDAQ backed it down too.
billion in the GDP, with black women being among, just so y'all know, the most educated and most active in seeking work. Their push out is a glaring warning sign for where our economy is headed, because black workers, black women in particular, have always been the canaries in the coal mine. So this is a problem for everyone. Black women are bearing the brunt, but everyone will feel this hurt. I have led letters to Fed Chair Powell calling for action to be
Brookfield
taken. He is
confirms
also a
intention
member
to
of
make
FSOC.
offer for
So I want to
Hikma
ask you, Mr.
Pharmaceuticals.
Secretary, will you commit to analyzing
Tacos and
black
Staples
unemployment
didn't
rates
flinch.
specifically and its
Yes.
impacts on financial stability? Yes or no?
I will analyze black unemployment rates.
Wonderful. And when will you get us a report and a plan of action? I was thinking March 6th.
I can't commit to a date.
Okay, all right. Well, I think March 6th makes sense. That'd give you over a month, which is more than enough time to convene that working group and to report out your findings. I know you already have the infrastructure to do that. So at the end of the day, black families, black futures, and the lives and livelihoods of all who call this country home are depending on you to act. And with that, happy Black History Month. I yield back.
And thank you, and I was sorry to see you not run for Senate.
Gentlewoman yields back.
Chair
Chair
being
recognizes the
sarcastic?
Chair of the Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations, Mr. Muser from Pennsylvania.
Iran
Secretary
on the
Bissett,
verge of
thank you very
collapse.
much for being with us.
You get one good
Thank
headline,
you.
they're
In a
gonna
state
fucking
that
rip
Maine-
it back
it's
up.
now
The
Main
oil's still
Street's
holding
turn.
up.
I can assure you the people of Pennsylvania's 9th Congressional District greatly appreciate that. And your remarks are are quite refreshing. The previous Treasury Secretary, once when I asked what their economic growth initiatives were, they implied that federal spending
Well, that's kind of why I
primary, if
like
not only,
the
growth
software
initiative.
stuff.
So
I think the
clearly,
software
under your
movement
leadership,
is better
President
than
Trump's and the Republicans in
Iran, because if you ask most
passing
fund
the
managers this
family's
year
tax cut,
what the number
delivering
one issue
meaningful
was,
tax
they
relief,
said it's going to be
billions to
geopolitics.
workers and small
But
business
I like
owners,
I like the
tax on tips,
surprisers.
regulatory
So even
reform,
though we are reacting
tax
a
on
lot, I don't
overtime,
know if that
100%
shouldn't be
depreciation.
the big
All this
thing.
is driving our
But again,
savings,
yesterday
all
it
this is
caused the
driving our
reaction,
economy
and then
for
once
booming
again today,
GDP
you're getting a
Q3,
candle, you're getting an
Q3,
oil
Q4,
pop, defense names,
in
but
the over 4%.
yeah, that
So
just set off
things are
another
going
one.
very well. We expect
U.S. said they would not
2026
agree to
be,
change the location and
pretty
format
exciting
of
as
talks
well.
planned for Friday.
Secretary, if there is anything
So they haven't
that
fully
was
backed
passed that
out.
is still on your mind
They might
that you would like to
negotiate,
respond
Habibi, you
to,
know?
I want you to go ahead and do so.
They're playing hard to get, like Simon.
Again, this is supposed to be a
Simon,
financial stability
Simon, where did you go, Simon?
and that we
Simon,
have
did you
taken
get
this
that
very
news for free
seriously.
99
We
early?
believe that a lack of
You know
growth,
that,
one of the
Simon?
reasons I am sitting here
Why does Simon?
behind my very
It's not even on Reddit yet,
a
Simon.
nice private
Is
life
that why you hang out
because
here,
I was
Simon?
worried that the US was
Simon, why have you
become
made
like a
such a
European
bad
style
example,
social
Simon, for all the
democracy.
people
And
who
indeed,
want to
what
be
we are
freed in the
seeing
chat? You
Europe
see what
and
I'm
many
saying,
countries
Simon?
Is the death
Simon
spiral
says breathe.
of higher debt,
I don't think he
raised
sent me the
taxes,
long
lower
term.
growth. The U.S.
He acted like a rapper, though. I said, you got the long term. He said, the long term a check, son. I'm like, what, is that Lil Wayne? Is that Meek Mill? What do you mean, Simon? Send me the fucking long term, Simon.
And so we have been successful at that. Europe.
Yeah, Palantir's good, but it's
0.3% growth.
it was software, man.
So
it was a software.
It's no comparison, and I think we are beginning to accelerate. And importantly, everything we are doing is to fix this terrible Biden inflation. From
Terrible.
The past 4 years, 21.5%, much more for working families, and we are bringing that down.
Your remarks and the president's remarks in Davos suggested that how you spiraled down in your economy, which Europe has been doing, not having closed borders or secure borders anyway, over-reliance upon imports and driving the public sector rather than the private sector is a recipe for disaster. And so
The video just like today's just like yesterday.
Moving Pennsylvania,
It's like
Pennsylvania,
you're either
United States
freaking out because of AI or
just to,
software is
get
making you
some
freak out
questions
about
in.
AI. It's kind of really
Emphasize
circular,
putting
but
Main Street ahead
it's
of
the
Wall
same
Street,
sort of pressure, to be
when
honest.
evaluating bank
And
capital
same even percentage.
How
Nvidia's
will
down another
modernizing
3.
the capital framework
Microsoft's doing better this
improve
time,
credit
but
access and
still,
affordability
it's
for
kind of
small
like back and
businesses,
forth.
homeowners, farmers, who ultimately, in the end, bear the costs for such excessive.
You sent it. I didn't get it, Lil Simon. That's your new
Again,
rap
Congressman,
name.
The groups you just listed
Tradingfraternity@gmail.com.
are the three most dependent on community.
I'll
and
type
small
Simon
business.
in my email.
And we are determined.
Simon,
to
I don't got
increase
no
their lending
Simon.
Capacity to increase.
Maybe when did
their
I block your email? I don't think I
proclivity
did,
to
man.
lend. And we
I
want
don't
to
know
do
what your
it on a
email
safe,
is. Spam. Let's
sound,
see,
and
Simon.
smart basis.
In
No,
the
I don't
previous
got one, bro.
administration,
I
we
don't
had
got no Simon
regulators that
long term.
imposed capital requirements well beyond the international peers, including the GSIB surcharge, the CCAR, Tier 1 leverage ratios. Are these frameworks being reviewed holistically to better support
Takes a
lending and
minute. You're
economic
in the
growth?
bath right now?
Again, we are not going to let outside
That's what you do in the
regulators
bath?
determine
You
what
like,
is best
I
for the
want to
US
make some
financials.
political comments in the
Thank you.
stock
The
market chat
strength of the US
while the
financial
market
system
hits
is
a
the
new
depth and
low.
breadth, and we do not want to end up like
That
Canada
sounds
with
like a
5
really
banks,
use Epsom salt.
Switzerland with 1,
But yeah, that's
France with 3.
Absolutely.
I feel,
great.
bro. I feel.
Your decisive action to confront what should.
All right, still
concern all
going.
of us,
Oil's up by
concerns
that's
us,
probably like
rampant
2%, top
government
bottom to
benefits
top.
fraud uncovered in Minnesota. Can you walk
Yeah,
us
if you
through
didn't
how
know,
Treasury
if you don't
is
know what's
using
going on with
authorities
software,
to
that's
identify,
kind of the big
disrupt,
deal.
and
We talked about it on the watch
fraud
list last
proceeds,
night,
and how
but
Minnesota is serving
even this morning, I
as a
mean, we were
start
talking
for
about a
broader
play. I
national
went over that with
enforcement
everybody.
model.
It's either both sides. You either play the software
there is a
bounce or
substantial amount of waste,
software
fraud, and
turns
abuse,
into an
and
issue.
Americans and legislators on both sides of the aisle should be outraged when you are there and you see empty daycare centers, senior centers, and I personally met with 2 centers.
Okay, see if
for
Microsoft fall. You're
autistic
slipping, bro. It's
children,
bullshit.
and they are not getting.
But again,
their
it's
benefits.
literally the
So,
same setup as yesterday.
We are using our regulations.
Software is not as
underspin
bad,
them
but you're
to
back to
follow
the
the
3% gap
which is
down
what
zone
we've
from
done,
the
whether
morning.
it's Mexican drug cartels, whether it's the mafia,
Even
or
Yang and Dang, and
time
China's
expired.
dumping
Thank you,
too.
Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Yeah, it
Thank
doesn't
you.
help that
Very, very
AMD's down
much for your great work.
17.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from New Jersey.
White House Whitcourt from Trump
Scott
are
Harmer,
expected
you're
to travel to
recognized for 5
Qatar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, welcome.
I think death blow if Microsoft goes down. Otherwise, it's going to kind of keep doing this.
Mortgage rates are still above 6%. That's keeping monthly payments high and pricing would-be buyers out of the market. The affordability crisis is increasing the homeownership gap in North Jersey, which I represent, and across the country. How can we get the 10-year down and help make homeownership more affordable? And that's what I'm really focused on.
Well, the 10-year bond had its best year since 2020 last year, and we actually had a fiscal contraction in the budget. The rest of the G7 bond market went up in yield. So if we continue to...
So you see a path where this... You think we'll continue to see it tick down, especially the long.
Well,
there you go, Simon. He sent me his long term.
That I believe that we have Oliver Wyman's numbers.
I know you
Treasury.
are closet liberal. I
They
don't judge you for grifting, though. One day you'll see Trump and his admin are shit for America. Send me the port, like what you hold in it. Why are you mad if your long term went up in 3 years?
So by creating more capacity,
it kind of looks like the one we built. I don't know what's in it.
Or scarce funds. So we are.
It was at 12,000 in 2023. Now it's at. Come on, bro. Why are you mad?
I have a strong belief that AI will revolutionize financial services.
If I'm grifting, I'm not doing it good enough, then, bro.
For customers.
All right, we're gonna have a price raise tomorrow. I'm gonna call it the Simon membership. Should we do that, Simon?
AI's potential to improve resilience.
Because Simon, I can't connect to the people like you, Simon. I don't know how to do it.
Concentration create challenges.
So y'all just went, no!
To enable broad AI adoption while encouraging
competition.
Come on,
Simon.
And working Congress help get this right so AI can flourish as a helpful tool for Americans.
You have a weird way of showing
markets.
love. Say, I love you. You're a closet liberal. Why do you spend so much time? I'm so confused.
Very quick technology
Simon.
Cycles is the technology gets ahead.
His name is very fun to say.
The regulation. So working together to keep the regulation in sync with the technology, whether it's for the financial system.
You want to deport him instead?
Or for anywhere else.
I guess.
The good news, as you said, it will change the.
So we could either, but I don't know. I need
the bad news.
Like I said, I did this last year. If I'm already going to get viewed a certain way, I might as well lean into it. You know what I'm saying?
What are you doing internally at Treasury? Obviously, you spend a lot of time on the security side of on the Treasury piece of it. What are we doing about that?
Yes, so we have
send him to Dagestan
at Treasury.
Give him 3 months, bro. He'll be a new man.
Regularly, we do tabletop exercises in terms of what would happen if a.
This was all Iran. Otherwise, first half was software and chips like earlier, and then straight up, this was the. This was just Iran. Now the VIX and everything is going crazy again.
We believe a state actor. So again, increasing resilience, being aware, and working with our private sector partners for best practices.
Well, no, the point of the long term, I want to see if you're actually benefiting off what we do here at the Colt, man.
Higher gold prices.
So I'm glad he has a long term.
If there are multiple drivers,
that's why it's weird though. He hasn't really talked to me about stocks.
Investors seeking protection against policy
usually, like I'm saying, it's the people who get in the way of the money are the people talking all the politics, and they're like, "You talk about politics." So I'm like, "That's all y'all bring up to me. Give me some stock shit."
Starting to price in.
I know we're listening to the treasurer, but
away from U.S. assets.
Usually, he used to move the market.
You watch to see if we're seeing that pullback.
I'm a lover, not a hater.
Yep. So what we see at Treasury is we saw.
You just called me a grifter.
Amount of foreign inflows,
and you're implying that Trump is bad for America, and I am not able to notice it. Did you not see my videos last year?
This year, many of the auctions have traded
but yeah, man.
through.
So I don't know. If I'm down though. I'm down to
auction.
Because you said a lot already, but I think I got to get into it.
We are still seeing.
You watched since I quit before smoking weed. Well, send me your holdings. Let me see. I want to see what else you got in there. But do you realize you make this a worse experience
one of the
for
things
people?
I'm concerned about,
Simon, I'm enjoying. I'm having a lot of fun right now. I even got some new ideas.
U.S. overall saw 6%.
But do you realize that you are part of the problem, Simon, or no?
Canadian trips are down.
You might turn people into conservatives, Simon,
even at the
with your behavior. You're willing to ruin a good community service
what is the administration
because of your Trump hatred.
Volatility and obviously tariff policy.
So I don't know if you are aware of this, Simon.
Look, on some things, there's nothing we can do.
The staples haven't budged. Microsoft's doing the balance.
Ontario wants to be especially
well, I thought that was
hostile,
IGV.
Tell people not to come to the U.S. That's a decision. I would say it's.
I reclaim my time.
And as you said,
do you think we'll see less reclaiming my time with the tariff policy kind of firming up, or?
Less volatility in tourism.
Well, yeah, because it affects everything. People don't want to come
Gentleman's time
here.
has expired.
Thank you, sir.
So yeah,
Chair
man,
recognizes
I
the
think for
gentleman from
everybody,
Indiana,
it's a
Mr.
good
Stutzman. You're
example.
recognized for 5
If you
minutes.
guys want
Thank you,
more
Mr.
free
Chairman,
shit,
and,
you want
thank you,
more
Mr.
non-members
Secretary,
only,
for being here today. I'm
you
gonna
want
yield
more
to the
good
chairman
things,
just briefly,
please avoid this
for a
chat.
couple
Like
of
I'm saying, if all you talk to me is
Mr.
complaining,
Secretary, I appreciate
and then you
members
act
on
like
the
you've known me
Republican
for a
side
long
allowing you to
time,
clarify
but
points
kind
on
of
some
just
key
seem like a
discussions back
closeted
and forth,
hater
and we have
enemy,
had some good ones
you ruin
today.
it for a lot of people.
There was an
So
exchange
if you
you
would
had
like
with
to be
my
a friend,
from
and
Massachusetts,
if you would like
Mr.
to
Lynch,
help the
about
world
artificial
with stocks
intelligence.
and finance,
And in
try
your
to talk about
capacity as chair
stocks.
of FSOC,
Can we all agree on that?
our view here is that
I think
artificial
that's
intelligence
because again, I went
offers
non-members
great
for a
promise
month, and
for
unfortunately,
better
a lot of the
consumer
people like
service,
Simon lingered around.
fighting fraud.
So we tried to eliminate
more
this last year.
accuracy in providing customer service, but also in providing
My
a more
chat's trying to
robust
turn you into
compliance
ICE, and you're saying I'm the
process
problem.
with the
Nobody's
rules
trying to
in
turn you
banking
into
and the
ICE.
brokerage and
Please,
securities
please don't
industry. I
act
wonder
like
if you
that.
could talk from an FSOC
But
point
if
of
you
view
are
about
illegal,
a philosophy of overseeing artificial intelligence.
Simon,
both in the
Simon,
financial
if
services
you've been watching me
industry
for how
and among the
long?
supervisors
Do you remember
of
when they
the financial
reported my
services
parents to ICE?
Yes, so...
Simon, it was a liberal.
again,
I had a
we
liberal
are
guy when I
working,
told my story of my
with
family.
our private
This was
sector
under
partners,
Biden. They
to
reported me.
best
Come on,
practices.
Simon.
And, Chairman, as you said, there are two pieces to this. There is service
So yeah,
improvement,
guys, try not to be
which
Simon.
we're,
And Simon,
for instance,
if you
working on
really,
at the
you know, you
IRS.
got it long
We
term,
hope
I
to
hope
be
you
able
could
to
be
use
more happy about it.
intelligence
But at the same time,
to get
you
customer
are
breakdowns
you're
and
ruining it
service
for
down.
people, man.
Yeah, on the other
I like
side,
to open up the doors, but there's so many Simons out there, bro.
Alerting everyone to the risk of what is going on.
I'm reclaiming my time.
This is a transformative change, and as I mentioned,
A lot of
to the
names. If it's not
Congressman,
soft, oh wait.
we would look forward to
Wait a
working
minute.
with you on legislation.
Yo, is Hood considered software? Because I know
too
Spotify's
far
down a
ahead
lot,
of
but Hood's even clobbered
Very
this month
helpful. Now
too.
yield back to my friend from Indiana.
All right, thank you.
I didn't
And
even
first
think
of all, I
about
just wanna
that.
say thank you for being just a
Can we vibe
steady
code a
voice.
bot? Can we
Our
vibe code a
economy
brokerage?
Is seeing tremendous growth. Is there volatility in places? Absolutely. We're still recovering. You know, we've heard a lot today from my colleagues across the aisle about tariffs and the effect on inflation in the U.S. economy. I just want to remind everybody, during the Biden administration, grocery prices increased by over 23%. I'm in the food industry. We've seen it. That growth has
We can't
accounted for
talk
nearly
politics.
91% of grocery price
Simon!
increases since January of
I
2021.
don't like your disingenuity.
In Biden's first year
Yesterday
alone, grocery
was not
prices
politics.
increased
You
by
talk about
6.5%
dictators,
as
China,
compared to 1.9%
Putin, something about my
during
grandma
President
and
Trump's
mom.
first year in office.
Time for daily
That's
dick
nearly
gobbling
3.5
the
times
other day.
faster, yet
Another
my
year of
colleagues
egg
wanna
talk.
blame
How long will
Trump's
it be on
tariffs
eggs?
for the
The
prior
Powell Day,
administration's
he only
uncontrolled
cares how rich
excessive
you are.
spending.
You're referring
And I know
Trump,
that, you know,
billionaire after
what
billionaire. Someone
the
explain how
administration,
draining
the
the
Trump
swamp.
administration you are
On the
doing
earnings squeeze,
is
you're
really-
talking about
the America First
1984.
policies are
On
spot
the
on.
trade
We
deal
needed
revived.
somebody in the
You're
White
talking
House
about
fighting
ICE.
for America first.
On
So I just wanna say
Intel
thank
earnings,
you
there's 2,000
from,
federal
from folks
officials in
in
mass with
Northeast
guns
Indiana,
raiding houses. Any
for
more
your
questions?
hard work to reset
Y'all
the
talk
table
about
globally.
Renee Good like a
And,
terrorist,
we're a
while MAGA in
manufacturing,
white hats.
agricultural sector.
Philo, you talk
We grow
about
the food
taco.
for the country. We
Trump hating
manufacture,
women. I'm
medical
confused
devices, all
on
these other
Trump.
things. And so I just want to
So
say
this
thanks
isn't
for that.
today. That's why I'm calling you the fuck out, Simon.
with the president
You are
about
the reason we are on members
and
only.
to combine
But you're a
two
member.
other themes,
You have ruined it for
manufacturing
so
and
many people,
farm
Simon. And I hope this is a
economy,
good
but
example,
we were
Simon.
with the
I would like more people
CEO of John
to
Deere,
just
and
talk
he
to
is
me about
building a new
stocks.
factory in
And the sad
Indiana,
part,
and
Simon,
the president
you have a
built
nice
one in
long
Indiana,
term,
one in
Simon.
North Carolina,
So
and
that doesn't seem
the
fair,
president said, "Let me
Simon.
do that," and he said, "The tariffs."
Come on,
The
Simon.
tariffs.
So
No,
please, Simon,
it's-
I encourage you to be a nice, active member of your
manufacturing
community, Simon.
in a position to compete with China.
I mean,
whether
again,
it's
if
a
we didn't
CNC
have
shop,
some
whether whether
some
it's
good
the,
idea of
the
today,
medical
Simon. I
device
wouldn't waste
industry,
my
there's
time on
obviously
it,
some
but
pieces
come
there
on,
with
Simon. I
regulatory
expect more,
environment, things
Simon.
like that, but it's
And
really
for all
giving
of you too. This isn't
manufacturers
about
spot.
Simon. This
One
is
thing I
for
would
everybody.
ask, and if I could maybe
You
share
know,
with your
I hope
office, I had a
everybody
foundry owner in the
can
office
understand.
yesterday, and there's some
That's all I'm
definitions
looking
around
for.
foundries, and so I'd be happy to
Please.
send that information over to your office.
I
just
could
to
bring
take a
back
look at it.
Josh. He's fine. He's ready to
that's, of
go,
course,
but
very important for
so many
America, and I
people
know
get
you
sensitive.
all care
But then
very
again,
much about
you see
manufacturing
the
and
Simon
steel industry.
effect.
So I'll send that over.
With pleasure.
Yeah, but anyway,
With pleasure.
my time's about to expire, but I do want to just say thanks because it's, what people back home are really dealing with is this cost over the last 5 years. And
There
for
you
you
go.
to really
Shed him
reset
with
the
love.
table, they're believing in.
We
they
love
believe
you,
in America.
Simon,
We
but
just
that's
need to show them that we
unacceptable,
believe in
Simon.
America as well, and that America can be great.
This is your radio show?
There's a level and there's
Well,
a rate of
Simon
change.
says,
The level
get a
is
long
very
term
difficult to get down.
and
We're
engage
trying
in
as hard as
stocks
we
in
can,
here,
but we've
and you'll be
slowed the rate
fine.
of change greatly.
Yeah, thank you. I'll yield back.
Thank you. The gentleman from Michigan, Mr.
The
Lee, is
pendulum
now
pullers
recognized for
make
5
it
minutes.
worse for everybody. I
Mr.
agree.
Secretary,
I've been
bank's
learning
leverage
to enjoy
ratio is
it, but
important, right?
like I'm saying, nobody
Well,
wants
there are
to hear
numerous
that shit
leverage
all the
ratios.
time.
Congressman, which
So
one are
I'm
you
sorry for
referring to?
everybody else who has to
for
hear
the
this,
record,
but
if I may,
I
Mr.
thought it was a
Chair,
good
I'm gonna submit
example.
the bank
I hope you
capital
could
for
understand.
analysis Semi-annual update for the record, may I?
Without objection, so ordered.
You want to see your fact?
I want to talk about
You bring up
the
politics.
way that
But that's
we
not
look
what
at
you
global
said,
systematic
brother. I
important
just played the
banks, what they
shit,
call-
and that's
what do
all
guys
you
call
respond to.
G-SIBs, is that right?
You ain't respond to
That's what I'm
TAP.
talking about.
You ain't respond to the
They're
software,
banking
to
organizations that could
Bitcoin,
trigger a
the
financial
ISM,
crisis if they failed,
the
correct?
Intel,
And they could
the
trigger a
earnings.
financial crisis by not lending.
Yeah. So
Why
the
can't
leverage
the
ratio
now
is
it's about
important
that?
when
I'm
you
just
look at it,
saying
right?
you're just the
Again,
real.
I'm not
You
sure
don't
which
talk
leverage
about
Okay,
the
so
right
I'm looking
things.
at here, this,
You only
this
talk
chart,
about
okay,
very
it says tier
politically
one
motivated stuff.
Capital. Does that
Simon,
help?
you complain,
Tier
Simon.
1, that's helpful.
Okay.
Simon complains.
So I know it's kind of hard to see, but the green line
Come on,
is the
Simon.
community
You wanna
banks.
see
You
your
see how
chat facts?
high that cushion is? That it's about what, almost
The
11%?
sniff killed you.
I know you can't see it.
People are
It's
going to be
fine.
wild.
I was going to enlarge it for
What
you.
the fuck that you just
Yeah,
showed up?
so the largest bank capital
You're
analysis
6'3".
for the Federal Reserve
Your
Bank
plumber
of Kansas
charged
City, it shows that
Ooh,
last
you got
June,
a
the tier
down
one
payment for the
leverage ratio of
crib.
community banks
See,
was at
that's a great chat
10.83%.
facts.
For the banks that
C-Rod,
pose
I
the
like
largest
you.
threat to global system, what they call G.
You're going down
the big
again.
banks, the ones
This
who
is
take
all
the
started
risks,
with the
you know
Iran
this,
shit.
right? Their supplementary
Iran official to
leverage
Reuters,
ratio
U.S.
was about
insistence on
5.8%.
discussing non-nuclear
It's a huge
issues could
difference, right?
jeopardize talks in Oman.
Correct.
I think they're going to
Okay,
flip it
I'm
again,
getting
bro.
there, I promise.
Yeah, watch if oil comes down. But I think
You
this
think
is
the
all
largest,
just
most
distracting
complex
from the
banks
software again.
Are roughly half are as risky in the threat that they pose
Simon
to the
in
financial
software
system
today.
as a community bank in my district.
Well, I think, Congresswoman, that what you're neglecting to think about is the composition of the assets and the capital. So the capital at the G-SIBs can be much more liquid.
Is this still
where
buy the dip?
the,
Well, it depends what you're
banks in
buying.
your community
But
are,
like we talked about, I think I still believe the
as we're
big
used
play
to
was
seeing
either
in the
buy the
movies.
dip
Well, let
on
me explain
software
to
or
the
short
public
the fuck
why
out of it.
community- Yeah, I
and then
understand.
if credit
Community
crashes,
banks,
we'll have a
though,
problem.
lend
And
out
then
equivalent about
earnings today after
75% of
Google
their
will
deposits to
will tell
real
us a lot.
economy. Some people refer to as Main Street, but we call it the real economy. People, families, communities. The largest banks only lend about 40% of their deposits into our real economy. Instead, they rapidly
love you
expand
too,
their
baby.
loans to hedge funds and private equity that you're calling liquidate. They can liquidate, right? Is that what you're saying?
2.5 on the Nazi.
I'm also
I'm
So
just-
look,
I-
another
they
bro.
hold a much
Staples
higher-
up 1.5.
Yeah, but the big banks are the
Nasdaq
ones who
down
keep
2.5. I
failing,
think
right?
XLK is down worse.
The big banks are the ones who keep failing.
No.
I know. I got
Small
clobbed
Well,
on
that's
those
because they're
IRAs.
getting pushed out. We're not actually.
I'm still gonna
supporting
ride them out
community
till
banks.
tomorrow.
said
But we'll
I-
see. I want to
think
sell
more
before
than 100
earnings.
times today.
I'm gonna try to
I
take
support
advantage of
community
it.
banks, and
I
what
understand.
I don't want to see
You could
is-
say it, but you got to do something about it. But listen, so
I've
Trump's
met, I've met with more than 200
I know,
community
Mr.
bankers.
Secretary, but this is pretty bad.
I do care about
Because
free
the fact
speech,
that
Simon.
community
Like
banks
I
in my
said, you're
business
just
have
fucking it up
almost
for a
twice
lot
as
of
much
people.
capital,
And I'm using you as an
percentage-wise, compared to
example.
banks that pose
That if
the
you want the
largest threat
best
to our financial
experience at
system,
Stock Market
you know,
Live,
it shows that
let's talk about
that
finance
just
and
how
money.
much playing field's
But
titled,
if you are going to
tilted
focus on
towards
my, it's
Wall Street.
ironic though. You got a
understand
long
that,
term,
right?
so
That's
you
where the
probably
risk
got
is.
the
The big
benefit
banks
more than
do
most
far less
people.
for our real
So you
economy
probably don't care about
for
the other
everyday
people,
people,
huh?
and that's what I'm trying to say.
That would make a lot of sense. I did say that last year. A lot of the rich people, they don't really care if the other people get less.
That apply
Ironically
to the
enough,
largest
you've talked about
banks.
that,
Many former
but
regulators
you know, just
and
if the
experts
shoe
have
fits.
warned that such
So
step
I
will
hate to be
actually
the
undermine
grifter I
safety
am,
and
but at the
soundness
same
of
time,
our our largest
You
banks.
kind of are
The
doing
final
your
will
own little
result in
grift
a
here
reduction
too.
of about $219
So
billion,
come on,
about 28%
Simon.
in capital.
Just
at
can
the
I get a?
bank
Can you tell me about
subsidiaries,
stocks, Simon?
of global systematic important banks, GSIBs. Again, my residents don't know this, but the thing is, they end up with having to pay the cost when they fail.
Well,
And so
Simon
I'm
has a
just
long
trying to
term. He
stress
got
to
his
my
long
colleagues how
term
important
got
it
to
is,
double or
because
triple in the
Secretary,
last 3
last
years.
November, didn't regulators
I don't know what's
reduce
in it.
again, the capital
I hope he
requirement,
got some of the
right?
good
Yes
stuff
or
we
no?
got,
They
but
did.
I guess maybe that's why he doesn't
I
care.
want to be polite, not
Maybe
say
the
it's
long
naive,
term
what
empowered him to
road
pursue
you're
his
going
own
down,
devices.
but much of
So
the
now he
excess
just
capital
goes
has been
and
invested
disrupts
in
it
the
for
US
everybody
Treasury
else.
market, and keeping those yields low helps
Maybe.
borrowers who want a mortgage or a small business or an ag loan.
But are you paying attention how much they are lending versus community banks?
Yes, we pay very close
really
attention.
low.
I've been a financial
But isn't it
analyst
low?
for over
Didn't it?
over
The
40
shutdown's
years.
over.
It's low.
Sorry?
It's
No,
still very low.
It's not relative to the
Mr.
historical level.
Mr. Secretary, if you came to
Mr.
my
Secretary.
district, you can go to Detroit or the suburbs. They will tell you the big banks do not loan to them. And if they do, it's predatory. It's not supportive. It's the local community banks
And
that
ICE is
support
gonna
them in
deport 'em?
owning home
Oh,
ownership
sorry.
and
I-
small
Simon.
General
businesses.
A's time's expired.
Congresswoman, you and I are in complete
The
agreement.
General A's time's expired. The
Except
gentleman
on-
from
except on the
California,
capital
Ms. Kim,
ratios.
is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Secretary Besson, it's really great to see you before our committee again. I want to thank you so much for working very closely with me on delivering the historic SALT relief to the tune of $40,000, because with that, my constituents in Orange, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties will finally be able to see the relief as they file their tax returns. The 4 times increase in the SALT deduction, coupled with other provisions of the Working Families Tax Cuts Act, will result in
tell me a lot.
supercharged tax
Well,
returns, helping
I might
more
be down to
American
make you a
families get
bet,
back
but
on
I just
their
don't
feet
believe you, brother.
After the years
You spent the whole
of,
month with
failed
0 stock comments in
economics.
Stock Market Live.
Last year, you noted that Treasury would revisit
So I hope you guys
the
understand why I went members
2023
only,
guidance and
but I guess
analytic
some people
framework.
still
And you
want to
also
be members
highlighted that
to not talk
FSOC
about
has
stocks.
other tools, such as
They
issuing
chose me.
recommendations
I
to
feel chosen.
member agencies that are more tailored and precise than designation power. So, Secretary Besson, can we expect a new proposal for non-bank guidance that will be released sometime in 2026?
Software stocks.
Thank you. You know, I look forward to seeing that proposal when it's finally released, and hope there will be a public comment
Jump it for me one more
to
time.
ensure
It's low.
stakeholders can weigh
Oh,
in
so
and
sorry.
help shape that guidance.
Good. And the Congresswoman, the other thing that I would point out.
Oh,
we
shit,
had a
it's
lot of
already
talk about
philo time?
affordability today, and you were a great advocate for the one.
Simon, do you like philo? How do you feel about philo, Simon?
Like yours,
Last time during philo, you were saying taco.
revenue
I love you
authorities
like
are
a
not going to
taco.
mirror the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on
I forgot. Let me set up philo.
deductibility of auto.
I'm kind of over
policies.
Besson.
Which is very unfortunate.
I miss
So,
it though, man. He used
the
to move the
extent
market. It was really
that
fun
anyone
when there
in the
was more
California
drama.
delegation,
Is it bad that I
whether
like the drama?
Democrat, Republican, the New York
I've just
delegation,
maybe they
should
got me
push
feeling
the
dramatic today.
states to
That's
follow
probably
through
why
for
I
working
engaged so much with our friend Simon.
You can count on me on that.
I was inspired by the wrath
You know,
of the
let me
Congress
shift
lady.
gears now. I want to focus on the Community Development Financial Institution Fund. I was really happy and relieved to see the staff at the fund were restored after the conclusion of the Schumer shutdown late last year. I know that you share my view that the fund's work is critical to serving communities that typically do not receive the traditional banking services. So, can I ask you how you are planning to make the fund more effective and efficient as we move forward?
You got
What we
NVIDIA?
wanna
That's
do
good, bro.
is
I'm
focus
proud of
on
you.
Community revitalization,
You know that's your first
not
stock
unrelated
comment this month?
Ill-advised social policies. We want to drive reforms, new restrictions on the use
That's
of
how we
funds,
do it,
and we
baby.
want to focus on the
If you
programs
could
that
keep to
necessary
that, you know, give me like a 4-to-1 ratio of
know.
stocks
Making the
to
lives
I
better
hate
for
Trump, I'm
people
gonna
in
get
their
deported.
communities.
If you could control
You know,
that,
CDF
I
fund,
think
as
you'll
you
love it
know,
here, man.
has,
I don't know how
bipartisan
you've listened to me
support,
so long.
And I think it would also has a bicameral support. So I
So
look
yeah, for
forward to
today's
continue to
philo,
work
we're
with you
gonna,
on the future of this
I'm gonna
critical,
pledge my
critical
allegiance to
program.
Donald Trump.
But I also want to talk to you and thank you for being willing to come
I'm
to
sorry, man.
California
I'm sorry.
and investigate all the fraud, waste, and abuse. Unfortunately,
I'm just kidding. I'm a secret
Gavin
liberal, like you
Newsom,
said.
Has tied.
I'm gonna make sure
you
my
know,
girlfriend
he
gets
tried
an
to hide all
abortion.
those,
What?
you know, fraud and
I know. I'm
waste
sorry. I'm
and
having too much
allowing
fun with this.
$32
I don't know.
million
How can I grift
unemployment
off this? How do I
fraud
make
that
money
went
off of
unchecked.
this?
The
Because
state has
speaking the
also
truth
watched
makes
$13
people
million
not want to
stolen
watch me,
from
and the ones who
California
do
students because of the
seem
AI
to still be
generated
angry,
ghost
no matter what.
students enrolled in community
Even if they got
colleges.
NVIDIA at $13.
So, you know, I suspect
So I don't
this
know,
is just the
Simon.
tip
You have
of
any
the
advice,
iceberg
Simon?
in California's
How
fraud,
can I
waste, and
operate this a little
abuse.
better?
And I've been talking a lot about
Love the
this.
feedback,
Unfortunately, sadly,
But
the
I'd
state
actually
that
never
I
mind, Simon. Just keep
love
the
and I
stock shit
live
up. We'll
and
be
I
great.
represent a district from
You're doing good.
California
You're
has
doing great,
become,
man.
fraud capital of the world. So sad. But that's
So
why we
sad.
need your team in California. And is there anything that you can share to that end, how your investigation into California fraud is proceeding?
There's nothing I can share right now, but I have spoken to Dr. Mehmet Oz at HHS, and he is.
Thanks for everything. I've learned so much in 3 years. Well, thank you, man. Yeah,
Yes,
this
I
is
also sent a
that's
letter
part
to
of the
Gavin
grift,
Newsom
man.
to that end,
The
and I was
long-term
glad to see
stock.
Dr. Oz sending a
You
letter
know,
demanding
and I hope it paid off dividends for you, brother. That's what I'm talking about.
$1 billion
See,
to the federal
look at that.
government.
That's wow.
So thank you for that, and I look
I'm gonna
forward
look
to
at your
continue
chat
to work
facts.
with
Let's
you.
see.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You talking about
Gentleman from New York,
Viejas,
Mr. Torres,
talking
is now
software.
recognized
That's
for 5
it.
minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
How do you make a trade
Mr. Secretary,
free?
does the president
Look
have
at
the
that. Easy
constitutional
finger to
authority
the sky.
to remove the
Talking
chair
Fed
of the Federal
probabilities.
Reserve
Oh, you were
or a
talking
member of
about
the Board
the
of Governors
earthquake
solely because of a policy disagreement?
I love it.
I'm
You're
not
wearing what
aware.
rainbows? What?
And I don't have an opinion.
You have no opinion on whether the
Talking
president
dividend. Oh
can
man,
remove
God bless you,
a
JG.
board member at will?
Thank you, my friend. See,
Well,
that's
I
a good.
believe that
That's
the
a
board
good one,
member
bro.
has committed.
No,
That's
just
a
in
good
general.
one.
I'm not asking about a particular case. I'm asking.
Or malfeasance.
I'm asking about the president's general authority. Let me ask it differently. Do you believe that the unitary executive theory applies to the Federal Reserve?
Again, I think we'll have to wait and see what the Supreme Court says.
What is your opinion?
The greatest mentor. Well,
I'm
listen.
not a lawyer.
What is the administration's?
If I am the greatest mentor for
There are
you,
varying opinions in the
you must be your
What's
own.
the prevailing opinion?
Because I have a
The
good
official
one today.
opinion.
I have a
Again,
great
we'll have to
philo,
see.
actually.
Do you consider the Federal Reserve
You
an
know that?
executive agency or a
And
legislative
I hope it's
agency?
something you all walk away
consider
with.
an independent agency.
Goodness.
So neither executive nor legislative?
So we'll see.
Therefore independent of presidential control. So it sounds like you do have a
Chipotle's
again,
ripping.
We will see, Congress.
Taco!
Thank you for establishing the independence of the Federal Reserve.
I do believe that the Federal Reserve has to maintain credibility and be like Caesar's wife, beyond reproach.
And undermining the independence of the Federal Reserve is a threat to that credibility. So I know you're no fan of the New York Times, but let me proceed. Let me reclaim my time. The Wall Street Journal, which is hardly a leftist publication, published an article with
I'm
the
your
following
favorite
headline,
grifter.
quote,
Thank
Trump
you so
claims
much.
factory construction is up.
That means a lot.
Contradicting U.S. data. The article then goes on to note,
Like
quote,
I said, I
President
got
Trump
to,
claimed that the U.S. factory construction is up by 41%.
I got to learn how to do it better.
A number that doesn't appear to be supported.
Because I told a
by the
lot of
government's own
truth.
Data.
Like I was like, buy the
One of
dip
stated
in
policy
fucking April.
objectives of the Trump tariffs,
And then that
is to
was
bring
like
back
people didn't like
manufacturing
that.
Jobs. Yet since the
I thought you
so-called
were supposed to make
Liberation
money
Day
off of
tariffs
it. If like
of
I'm
April
supposed to like pick a
2025,
side and then
we've
like
seen the
pump
net
it.
loss
But
of
no,
manufacturing
people get
jobs. Do you know
mad.
how many
I don't know why.
manufacturing
They just
jobs
get
have
mad
been
at me.
lost since April 2025 under your watch?
Well, a couple of things. Manufacturing operates with very long leads.
What's the number?
I believe
Is there a number?
I believe it's about 67,000.
70,000.
Yes.
70,000 jobs lost.
So, but again,
despite the stated objectives.
Wow.
Let me proceed.
They-
Let me
you-
proceed. I'm
you
going to reclaim my
cannot
time.
flip a switch
I'm going to
and
reclaim my
start
time.
construction.
Let me reclaim my time.
Very Simon vibes.
The Purchasing Managers Index measures whether manufacturing is expanding or contracting. A PMI above 50 means expansion.
I'm your favorite liberal. Thank
Below
you.
50 means contraction. Since the so-called Liberation Day tariffs of April 2025, has the PMI been mostly above 50 or below 50?
We just had the biggest increase in over a decade, and we are well above 50
See the
now.
PMI.
Has it been mostly above 50 since April 2025?
Again, long and variable lead times in manufacturing. Financial center, not a
Since April 2025, for how many months has the PMI been below 50?
Where are we now? Where are we now?
I'll give you January went up. But what about April to December? It was
again,
below 50 for 9 consecutive months.
Where are we now?
So the score is 9-1. 9 months of manufacturing contraction versus 1 month of expansion.
I look forward to seeing you next year.
So one of the stated policies.
He's saying that's going to run up.
Yeah,
Okay.
One of the stated
You're gonna
policy
keep running it
objectives
hot
of
on the
Trump
ISM,
tariffs
Mr.
is to
Besant.
bring back domestic production. Does the Trump administration
We'll go to philo
regret
after this
imposing
one.
tariffs
It got a little exciting.
on goods that cannot be produced domestically at scale?
66 months
in the United
grateful,
States?
baby.
Do you realize
Thank you,
in hindsight
man.
that
God
that was
bless you
foolish?
for speaking the truth and
Do
financial,
you realize that
philosophical
we used the
insights.
leverage
Well, amen,
to
bro. And I, for
bring
real though,
down tariffs
you know,
from
all
other
jokes
countries
aside,
to
I
take
hope
down
you guys
non-tariff
have
tariffs.
something
Tariffs
to
on
show
bananas
for
gave
it.
you leverage?
And if you do, man, make it
with
easier for
Colombia,
more
with
people to get
Brazil.
there
I
and
think
control your
Congress would be
attitude.
very naive
And if
to
you have a good
negotiate.
attitude,
I mean,
bro,
we were
and
promised
recognize
reindustrialization. A
the
tariff
good in
on
your
bananas
life,
did
not the
lead
bad, You're going to
domestic
do
banana
amazing
production
things.
simply made bananas
And
more
I
expensive.
want to see more of
for
it.
American businesses and consumers. The
So God
same
bless
is
some
true
of you,
of
man.
coffee.
Countries negotiating in a more fulsome manner.
I should be thanking
Are
you.
you willing to commit to no longer imposing
Or you
tariffs
could buy
on
vitamins.
any
New
product
Josh Answers
that has
Vitamins.
neither domestic
Speak the
substitute nor
truth
national security
vitamins.
rationale?
Sold by your favorite liberal conservative. Act
You're not
now.
You're willing to impose
Discount code long term.
that make more expensive goods that
No?
we cannot domestically produce here
Just
in
let
the
me
United
know
States.
if y'all want the vitamins.
And that have no national. What is the national security nexus of bananas and coffee?
Again, why would you do
We'll start
that?
selling y'all peptides.
There are numerous things when you negotiate with Indonesia. There are things that are only made in Indonesia, but the Indonesians brought down their tariff barriers or non-tariff barriers.
I get it. We have to make bananas great again. I get it. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Yep.
Oh, make
The
bananas.
gentleman from
great
New
again.
York, Mr. Garbarino, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Secretary, for being here today. First off, let me lead off. I was one of the people you were in negotiations with over SALT last year, and I really appreciate the hard work and the commitment and helping us get it across the finish line. And a lot of my constituents are going to see
And
a
as
big benefit.
Congressman, I can tell you, as also the IRS chairman, that the second largest refunds are going to come from your constituents or go to your constituents because of the SALT deduction.
It's going to be great, and hopefully, like myself, the rest of my constituents, I think, are
Yeah,
going to
bro.
plow the money
Besant
back
did
into the
pump the
economy,
ISM.
with some purchases when they get their refund this year. So thank you for all the hard work you did there with us. Last year, you oversaw Treasury's efforts to implement President Trump's
All right,
executive order.
if you guys want to
phase
go
out
to
paper
Philo,
checks,
join.
eliminating a costly and efficient.
I
and
got
more
a
fraud-prone
Philo for you.
process. Part of the EO directed
don't see a link. The
Treasury
link is a
Department
Philo
to work
link,
with
man.
financial
I
institutions,
got y'all.
consumer groups, and other
I got y'all.
stakeholders
Thank
to
you.
address financial
And God bless
access
you.
for unbanked and
I'll see you
underbanked
guys at Philo. You're
populations.
welcome to join,
Secretary,
Simon.
can you share more
I'll
on
have
the-
it on
on the
unmembers
work
only,
stream and
too.
particularly how
So for all of
Treasury-
you who have been
Treasury,
Simoned by
plans
all
to
of the other
incorporate
Simons
digital
indirectly,
technologies or
you guys
payment
could weigh in
solutions
too.
to increase
But I
financial
hope you
access
use
for
it for the
unbanked
right
Americans.
topic, you know.
Again,
You
we
do.
are
You
trying
could
to
talk
bring
about
that
whatever you
into
want,
the
but
financial
I mean,
system,
you
and
will
we are
probably get
trying
the
to-
most
one of the
benefit.
ways
Because
to
again,
incorporate
Simon's long term is banging, dog.
these
Don't let him
individual
play you
funds.
like that. You
And
see what I'm saying,
what we
man?
see, especially
So don't let him play you,
the
man.
cohort
So I'll
you
see you guys there.
described, is they are
Have a good